Yes. Hello and welcome to the third episode of Two Middle-Aged Men Watch 90s Era Jim Belushi movies. With me, as always, my regular co-host on these ventures down the river, Jim. It is your friend and mine, Matt Poirier. How are you doing, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very good. Since we last did this,
Yes.
which I don't know, when was that? That feels like it was
September,
back in.
according to Skype, when it was Skype or I think it was Skype when the last one that you sent me the link. It said September 17th. Does that sound right? I guess that does sound about right. Yeah.
I think it was right between. We did one episode between my dad being here and then my mom being here.
Right. Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of family visiting. And in the interim, I have started, Matt, my own video shop.
Yeah, which is just amazing.
Yeah, Be Kind Movie Vault. That's my video shop. That's what I've started. It's in the town of New Milford in Connecticut, northwestern Connecticut. And it's on the lower level of a shop called The Hunt. It's called Be Kind Movie Vault. And essentially, we know the owner of The Hunt. So our good friend Gina Lacey, shout out to Gina Lacey, is the owner of The Hunt. And some months ago, because it's been a rough work year, my job's really kind of kicked my butt a little this year and not been the healthiest of places to be. And earlier in the year, my good friend Jay Mayo, or all the listeners and watchers will know the name of Jay Mayo, Lord Jay Mayo, as he is officially known, as the name of Lord Jay Mayo has really drifted throughout the decades as a kind of legendary cloaked figure. Anyway, I was hanging out with Mr. Mayo and telling him my work woes. And he said, well, what is it you want to do? And I said, well, the thing that I really want to do, the thing that I see other people doing and I'm like jealous of, but also is something that, listen, it'll never fly because there just aren't video stores anymore, but really I'd love to have my own video store. And, because there are record stores and there are bookshops, and, I have loved frequenting both bookshops and record shops. My favorite shop to go into is a movie shop. And they aren't really any movie shops anymore. I mean, there's the odd one like the Archive in Bridgeport and a couple of others, Scarecrow Video out in Seattle, and Orbit DVD down in Asheville, North Carolina, all of which are fantastic places, all of which I've been to and I admire and I love. But they're not as prevalent as, say, record stores. Most, even small towns in New England, will have record shops of some kind. So I just, I was like, why aren't video shops really a thing? I wish they were a thing. My good friend Ben Darton, who runs Ben's Collectors Records in Guilford, to me has the dream life. He just, works all day in the shop while people come in. He listens to music, recommends music, talks about music. He's always happy, always smiling. Every time you walk in through the door, he's like, all right, John, mate, how you doing? Like, he remembers you from decades. And I was like, that's really what I want. Like, what I want is my own little small business that I can build from the ground up, and in 25 years still be the guy who's like, oh, hello, how you doing? Come on in and, watch some 90s era Jim Belushi with me, because that's really predominantly what I hope to have on the screens in my ideal video shop, would be just a lot of Jim Belushi. But no, so I was talking to my friend Gina about it, and she said, well, why don't you take half the music booth downstairs? Because she has this shop. It's called The Hunt. It's vintage, antiques, thrift, and whatever, but it's very curated. It's not just like one of those thrift markets where you go in and everything's just dumped in a pile and there's someone in the corner dying slowly of dysentery while someone else eats the smelliest tacos known to humankind on a beanbag chair in the corner. That it's a proper curated vintage store. And downstairs is on the lower level is broken out into these separate booths, and she sells one booth to a men's clothing and kind kind of tchotchke kind of store called the Good Find, who are great. And she rents another one out to a friend of hers for all like kid hand-me-down stuff. So it's all secondhand kids hand-me-down stuff. And our good friend Robert Long has joined, and he says, "Middle-aged my ass. You are both younger than me. Jim Belushi was good in Thief." Well, Robert, I am technically middle-aged.
Yeah.
I would have to live over 88 years old for this not to be middle-aged.
Same.
So, and I'm not.
I'm close to 90.
Right now, I'm not going to live to 88 years old.
Right. Yeah. So I'm at the middle of If for me, same thing. 88 or 89 or whatever. Yeah, that would. So if I'm in the middle of 80 of 44, right? We're in the middle. And I think yes. I guess this would be considered old. People would think this would be considered old age for the medieval period, but actually, people lived into their 80s in the medieval period. They were just lucky or unlucky, depending on.
If any children ever stumble across this in like the year 2030 or something, and I say that like it's a long way away. It's not that long away.
7 years, yeah.
But I'll live to probably see 2030. Anyway, some kids discover this in 2030 and they're watching it. They probably think like 44 is the oldest age on the planet. Robert, we would be at the beginning of middle-aged. You would probably be in the middle of middle-aged, if that makes any sense. Anyway, to finish up the story, Gina said, well, she has these booths downstairs, and one of the booths she has, which she runs, she had just thrown a bunch of vinyl in there because she had gone to some estate sales, got hold of some vinyl, and thought, just throw some vinyl in there. So she was like, why don't you take half the booth in the music booth downstairs? So it's sort of music and movies, and it kind of makes it this physical media place, and you bring in your movies and do whatever you want on the left-hand side and whatever. So at the moment, I have half a booth in the downstairs of on the lower level of a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful shop on Bank Street in New Milford. And if everyone comes to it and buys all of the things that I have there, I can afford to keep it open another month. And it'll be like that. And, I just got interviewed by the radio station today, the local rock radio station, Danbury and New Milford area, I-95, WKRI or whatever they are. So I just got interviewed by them today. I got interviewed by a local Connecticut newspaper as well, which is going to go up next week. So, everyone's like the community matter are pumped. The community are really behind this. The chance that one day they'd be able to walk into a store in New Milford and potentially find Coldfire, Wings Hauser in PM Entertainment's Coldfire has all of the greater Danbury area aflutter. Let's just say they are seriously excited about. I don't know why I have the big black screen. We're not watching the movie yet. That's better.
We're doing the preamble. The opening piece.
It's much better than we be full size because who doesn't need to see what's happening here?
Exactly. Right. They can't. No expressions. They just think that I'm just sitting there blankly while you're discussing all this stuff, and I have nothing to. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
No, but Matt is gurning and playing to the camera and. Promoting his other show on his mug and
all that. Come get our merch. Yes, John designed a lot of the merch that isn't this one, but he's designed merch on our thread list. So
I didn't design whatever that mug is.
No,
I would have had lightning bolts and all shit going on.
Yes, actually, I think I've got the one of the patterns that you designed. While we're chatting here, really quickly, here's the. This is the one that you designed.
Yes, that's my 80s synthwave nod to the DTV connoisseur.
I believe you go to the site, if you go to the merch site, which is dtvconnoisseur.threadless.com, I believe that one is called Vaporwave. I think I called it Vaporwave actually.
Quite possibly. But no, fantastic. Check out Direct Video Connoisseur's merch. You can also buy After Movie Diner merch. I would strongly recommend.
I don't have my shirt on this time. I had it last. Or if you watch the previous episode, you can see that I have After Movie Diner shirt on. So I went full Moxie this time. So I've got Moxie shirt and then a Moxie hat. So I'm
of course, I love it. That's sort of when I think of you, Matt.
Right.
And it does happen from time to time that you waft into the
Right.
transom of my brain. I think of Moxie. Like, and if
Yes.
I see, and the alternate is also true. If
Right.
I see Moxie in a store,
Right.
I
You
think
of
of
Matt.
you.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
forever entwined.
Right.
Because I
Exactly.
feel like you've probably worn the Moxie hat
Yeah.
over the course of us knowing each other on a
I wear.
podcast such as this multiple times.
Yeah, I usually wear it for podcasts because I can't really wear it here in Philly much. I usually wear my Phillies hat here in Philly, not because if I wore something else, people would give me a hard time, but more like if
Although it
you
is
wear,
Philly.
yeah, if you wear the Phillies stuff, you're a little bit more, you go to get your cheesesteak, they're a little bit nicer. Like they kind of see you as more of like a local, and so but I have to get a new one because my Phillies hat also is disgusting. It's like all stained and everything. So
Yeah.
this also is a nicer looking hat as well. So.
But I feel like baseball caps should be stained.
That's right.
Yeah. Robert says the after Moxie diner,
Yes.
which I do like.
Yeah,
because that implies that we just sat around, drank a bunch of Moxie, and it was like, let's do a podcast.
right. It is high in caffeine. It is have some caffeine in it. So
right, we'd be there halfway through being like, oh, what another thing I want to talk about.
Now, does it make it as far down?
Let's have some more Moxie.
Does it make it as far down as Connecticut? Because we don't get it here in Philly. Obviously,
yes, you can buy it in our local supermarket.
Yeah, that's odd. Yeah, because so that's I guess like I don't know if New York has it. So that's like if I really needed a Moxie fix, which I don't know that I necessarily. I mean, I was up visiting my family, but I didn't make it to Maine because my mom was ill. So I was
sorry to hear that.
No, it's okay. She's fine, but she didn't want me to catch it. So I stay with my sister and brother-in-law in New Hampshire. I guess I should think about. We didn't go to a convenience store either. We went to a beer place, and that was about it for So an Aldi.
Yeah,
I'd never been in Aldi before.
I think our local supermarket has the 6-pack.
Oh, the Moxie. Yeah. It is an acquired taste, I will say. Like most Mainers, when I mention that I like my Moxie fix when I'm up in Maine, they just gag. Like they're just like, oh, you drink Moxie? Oh, so it's like, so even like Mainers don't like it. I don't even know who likes Moxie, to be quite honest, but somehow it's existed for years, right? Like it's always been something you could buy, but I'm the only one I know that likes it.
I always get, and I understand, and this happens a lot in like the chocolate world, but I always get sad when they discontinue something.
Yes,
like
that's true
when they completely discontinue something. Because I understand everyone wants to be Pepsi or Coca-Cola. I understand. Right. Or Mountain Dew, if that is your preference. Although I think Mountain Dew is probably owned by either Coke or Pepsi.
I think it's owned by Pepsi. Yeah.
The everyone wants to be that, but I like the idea that just that Tang or something would still be going. Tab Clear or something would still be available. And the fact that it isn't, listen, I live, Matt, I get up, I figure it out, I get through the day. I'm not sat around weeping into my beverage, wishing that Tab Clear was a thing that I could buy. But I won't say that I'm happy about it not existing anymore.
Right.
But they just got rid of the Caramac in the UK. And the Caramac was by far the Nestle Caramac. Yeah. It was that, I don't know if they have it over here, but there's obviously milk chocolate, right? Dark chocolate. Everyone knows where they are with that. White chocolate, that people have got used to that. They're like, okay, white chocolate. It's not really chocolate, but okay, it's we know the flavor of white chocolate.
Right.
Well, in the UK, there were a few, not a lot, but a few bars that went to what they called gold chocolate, which was essentially the same kind of consistency as white chocolate. So not really a chocolate, but like a paste or whatever, right? Yeah. But it had a caramelly tinge to the. So you know how white chocolate just has that white chocolate taste? You're like, oh, it tastes of white. Excellent. And I don't mind it. I quite like it. I have the white chocolate Ghirardelli caramel squares because I'm fancy, Matt. I'm fancy.
Get the Ghirardelli. Yes. San Francisco's Ghirardelli Square.
But no, in the UK they went gold chocolate, and it was like a thing. And people and it was there were you could get like a Fox's Gold bar. and you could get like a Whisper Gold. So you could get existing confectionery, but now with gold chocolate. But then the Caramac, Matt, was bold. It went, we're having nothing else.
Right.
It's just going to be a gold chocolate bar. And it's not even thick, Matt. It's thin.
Right. Yeah.
It's like half the thickness. So you take the caramel out of this, right?
Yes. And it's that
break it in half. So it's just like the front plate. But
and that's what it is.
Gold chocolate, not white chocolate. And that's what it is. But I know nobody ate it. I know nobody. But the balls of something like that, Matt, you know what I mean?
Yes.
For years to just be like, we're manufacturing this fabricated gold chocolate bananas nonsense.
Right.
And we're just going to keep doing it. There's something joyful in that, Matt. And the fact that I know that we have lost the Caramac from the fair shores of the United Kingdom. I don't know. Again, Matt, I wake up, I live. I'll get through the day.
Right.
But occasionally I'll feel a pang of sadness for the death of the Caramac.
It's I think that's how I would feel if Moxie ever finally, when and again, it's not like I'm keeping them in business because I only ever have Moxie when I go up to New England. I get like 2 20-ounce bottles of it at the most, and it'll be something like where my mom will be like, "Oh, do you want some Moxie? I'm at the convenience store. Do you want to buy?" Okay, yeah. I remember one time she did get me like the 12 pack at the grocery store. But the problem is if you fly,
the 12 pack, man.
Exactly, it was like the big. The problem is with the way airplane travel is nowadays that if I'm flying somewhere, I can't bring it with me, right? Because I never pack a bag when I visit my family because they've got clothes and things for me up. I keep stuff up there, because I know I'm going to be there multiple times. So it's like I just have my backpack. And so then you can't bring sodas in your backpack because apparently someone might make a bomb out of Moxie or disguise a bomb in a can of Moxie.
And listen, I'm talking to the TSA right now.
Right, yeah.
I think TSA, you can make what's the word? You can make
an exception. You
can make an exception for
Moxie exception. Yeah.
I think that yes, it could be called the Moxie exception.
Right.
That's in sort of one of those like Robert Ludlum thrillers. They would be like or Clive Cussler or something. It's the Moxie conundrum or whatever. This would be the Moxie exception. Yeah. And the Moxie exception is if I'm bringing Moxie on a plane, assume I'm one of the good guys.
Right.
Just assume I'm one of the good guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because why, Matthew, would anyone with a negative feeling in their heart, why would they bring Moxie? They wouldn't.
Right.
They wouldn't.
No.
They would go for a lesser beverage, the aforementioned Mountain Dew, for example, or
Mountain Dew, yes,
or something heinous like the plant-based Coca-Cola, something like that. That's when you're like, okay, listen, if you're going to drink poison, make sure it's plant-based, because
yes, right. Or one of those like boutique sodas where like you look on the back and it's like they tell you their story. And why? My children were like getting the runs from drinking Coke, so I had to make a soda that didn't have this stuff in it, so they don't. Now they can drink soda, and their teeth are still rotting out, but at least they don't have the runs now, and that's why we want to make this soda for you. And it's like, what a great, beautiful story, and I'm paying $5 a can for this stuff, and it's
yes, yeah. And they're like, when our grandmother first sat down to tell former President Eisenhower about her plans to revolutionize the drink industry, we were but an imagination in our parents' eyes. But now, 60 years later,
we're making this shite soda and selling it at the co-op on a huge markup in like Whole Foods or whatever. And
and so how do you get it so sweet if you're not using sugar? Like, well, we put heroin in it. It's mainly heroin based. But natural heroin. Heroin.
Of course, it's only on organic, certified organic farms in Afghanistan.
Yeah, right. They're like, well, we put poppy seeds and the coca plant in the drink, and you're like, wait, isn't that cocaine and heroin? Like, isn't that sort of? Yeah.
Do you ever see like those?
It's all natural.
It's all natural.
It's natural opium and natural. Yeah.
I
Anyway,
just imagine like one of these BS like documentary things that they show at the airport, like over oh this company is this company is like this startup is revolutionizing the Coke industry, and look at how they're out and like they're growing in organic farms in Afghanistan, and look at how they're raising up these Afghani farmers, as they're growing
right.
poppies, and it's like, and it'd be like this whole wondrous thing, like this reporter, this like cutesy like pixie woman reporter out there, like with her wow, this is really cool. Maybe like they're doing like that, like a sped up shot of them walking through the farm, and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, airport entertainment is like, or airplane, it's like it's the worst stuff ever. And and it's like if you don't, like a lot of times it's like if I'm eating or something, I don't want to have my headphones in or whatever. But it's like the amount of time that I don't have those headphones in and I'm not like watching something, and I just happen to look up and see this airport entertainment stuff,
Right.
I just. Like I think I die a little bit more inside than I would knowing like if Moxie was, it's like I think a little piece of my soul sort of just leaves my body and
just
floats out.
play Moxie ads.
Yes, yeah.
But no, look, there's no excuse, Matt, in this day and age of everyone having a movie studio in their pocket. There is no excuse for the fact that 90% of the things that are made anywhere, like 90% of the things made,
right,
these days is shit.
Yes.
It just is shit. 10% is actually still as fantastic as it's always been.
Right.
Or no, 8%. And then there's 2% in the middle that's Apple TV has another series featuring an actor you kind of liked in the 90s.
Right.
What's the plot? It doesn't matter. I mean, it'll look beautiful. It'll look really beautiful, and Patricia Arquette will be, passable in it. But nobody cares. But that's the 2%. It's beautiful. That the money went into it, and that and occasionally it'll have an idea, and you go, oh, an idea, good. But in general, it's sort of moving wallpaper in the best way. In the best way. No disrespect to it whatsoever. If you want to endorse us, Apple, we're more than happy. If you're looking for quality content, how this isn't on Apple TV, I don't know.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what is.
I think
you could make us, Matt, one of those, the screensavers on the TV on Apple TV when the screensavers come on. You could just make Matt and I just like float. Anyway, sorry, you go ahead, dude. You're good.
No, well, one thing I was gonna say is that like I think like the morning show. I've never seen the morning show, but the way it's been described to me is exactly the 2%. It's a 2%er, I guess you could call it, right? It's in that 2% range that you're talking about. But
well, the first series was pretty exceptional. I actually liked. I would actually nudge the first series into the 8%. The next couple of series have been, they no longer really have their cause du jour, so they're sort of, and the world is so fragmented on absolutely everything these days that there's not, like with the Me Too thing, it was a nice contained thing, right? They didn't have to like play out all this other stuff. Since then, they've, the first series is about, it's the Matt Lauer story, but I mean it's not as implicit as that.
Right.
But then the second one, they decide to do COVID and Black Lives Matter and all that kind of stuff. They start to do real life stuff. And I know that the Matt Lauer thing was real life, but it didn't play out the way that Steve Carell's thing does in the first series. So this is what I'm saying. The first series was inspired by a scenario or a cultural touchstone. The second two seasons have been too rooted in exactly what's going on, and I don't think that was ever what the show was meant to be. It's still pretty well written, and I have to say, Aniston and what's her name, the blonde southerner, I forget, Reese Witherspoon. Aniston and Witherspoon are like actually great in it. Really good, and the cast around them are pretty good anyway. But no, there's what I mean is we're living in a world with so many streaming channels. And every single streaming channel has to have its own content. And most of the streaming channels, because they're owned or, at least in part financed by the big four networks, most of their stuff just looks like TV, right? So Poker Face is great on Peacock. It's like a really great series. and it does look good for like a TV series, but no better or worse than anything else that NBC shows right now. Like it's just you're getting a quality but you also know you're getting something that's just churned out very quickly, right? With Apple TV, what they seem to have decided with everything other than I'm forgetting everything tonight. The soccer thing with Jason Sudeikis. What's his name?
Well, right. Now I can't do it either.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. There we go.
So apart from Ted Lasso, which looks just like a decent TV show, right? It didn't need to look beautiful. It just needed to look like a decent TV show. The other ones the other shows they've done have lent very, very heavily on the cinematography, and the cinematography in these Apple shows is genuinely like very, very impressive. And the writings for some isn't bad, but then I feel like some of the other shows, it is just like la-di-da, we've cherry-picked an actor everyone kind of, it's like right. Matthew Modine starring in a somewhat sci-fi, somewhat thriller kind of show that takes place in the future on a space station where someone's killing dwarves or something, and it's and that's just a show, and Matthew Modine shows up and you go, all right, well, fine, whatever.
And there's like the article about the show where it's like either in GQ or Vanity Fair or something, where you get the picture of Matthew Modine with the glasses and the white 5 o'clock shadow and the crow's feet and all that, like really accentuated to show how old he is. And it's like, why you need to be interested in Matthew Modine again, and it's like the whole thing. It's like this whole like millennial feel to it. Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. And it's like just him sitting there in the white background with his like old man face, making him look even older than he really is, but like really leaning into it. And just like,
So Matt, as we've talked about resurrecting people from the 90s, should Belushi do an Apple TV show?
I think he would be great on the morning show. I'm trying to think where he would be in the morning show. He would be great is if they had a Ron DeSantis type character. And because Ron DeSantis is actually my age, we're talking about me being middle-aged or not. Ron DeSantis is my age, and he looks like he's 10 years old. He looks like Belushi would play a good Ron DeSantis. Not to cast aspersions on Belushi, but I think he would bring the requisite goofiness to it. Yeah. But like in a way that's like a goofiness that's not like that he wouldn't seem like he's in on the joke, even though he isn't on the joke, but he could play it in a way that
Belushi would be like a great slimeball middle tier politician.
Right.
Like maybe like the vice president pick or something. Like
right.
Not quite like one of the forerunners, although actually if you look at Republican ones running. They had it on silent in the bar the other night when I was there, and I was just looking at it, and I was just like, these look like.
I know.
I'm just like, where did they shovel this bag of wankers together from? Anyway.
It's on TV though. It gets televised. Like you'd think like that would be something that would be like streaming only. Like you can only see this on Newsmax or something.
Who fucking cares,
like why would MSNBC like waste time? Like I'm sure people would rather watch like Rachel Maddow, do like a 20-minute.
Matt, they've got to be seen to be hard hitting. They've got to be
seen to
be up to the minute on
the
finger on the pulse of the zeitgeist and all that.
Right, exactly. Right.
No, the thing with Belushi. Yeah, Belushi would play like a sleazy middle tier guy who's probably got like a couple of scandals.
Yes.
But also endears himself to the populace because he's quite a fan of Slurpees from 7-Eleven or something.
Right.
And they come out and he's like the Slurpee senator or whatever.
Exactly. Yes,
and he comes out from 7-Eleven and
the big 32-ounce gulp and this thick Chicago accent that he just like really plays up like John Goodman did on Roseanne. Like he just really is just,
So people who yes, we're definitely ready for a Belushi renaissance. Yes. That has to happen. People who saw the little preamble that I did at 8:30 when I came on to tell everyone that the show was coming on will have seen this already, but I wanted to show Matt this. So far, these are my 3 Belushi VHS that I own. I have, of course, Royce,
yes, beautiful.
Which is a classic, which we will be watching at some point.
Yeah.
I have Red Heat.
Oh, another beautiful. Yeah.
And look at that, like Schwarzenegger, black and silver.
Yeah.
Belushi, just black on white.
And smoking a cigarette, of course, with his coffee in his hand. Yeah.
And then you know about this one, recently purchased,
Yeah.
Traces of Red, Matt.
Right.
This is a pricey VHS tape.
Yeah.
There are collectors, Matt.
Yeah.
Collectors.
Right.
They have all of the well-known, like rare, I spit on your grave with the Lentica color or cover or whatever, whatever.
Right.
The hologrammatic version of Faces of Death 8.
Right. Yeah.
They have all that, but do you know their holy grail, Matt? It's Traces of Red.
Right.
On VHS. And do you know who has it, Matt? I have it.
You've got it. You've got it.
But I want to point this out is start the bidding now. I'll start the bidding at $5. If anyone pays me more than $5, everyone fight for Traces of Red. But I want to point this out: the red and black of all the Belushis, which of course is the color of the Albanian flag, Matt, the black bird against the red background. So I wonder, with his Albanian heritage, whether Belushi isn't surreptitiously talking back to his kinsman with this what is it? A subtle hint to his motherland.
Yeah, I think there's some others that also. So K9, I don't think does, right? I think K9 has blue script, but I think Made Men also follows the red and black. It's more kind of orangey too, because I think it's got like explosions in the background or something. But I think that one kind of follows that pattern. So
I think you're right, Matt. And I was also thinking the other day, because you know how these like Waxwork Records and Mondo Records and stuff are reissuing soundtracks or issuing for the first time in many cases soundtracks of very, very, very cult horror films and things. And I was racking my head and I was like, which Belushi movie, like if Waxwork Records was going to be like, we're putting out the ultimate Belushi soundtrack, I think it's got to be K9, because you've got that all do 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 do, that like right. But you've also got the bow 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 bow. You've got that. You've got I Feel Good when he runs out of the car having had sex with the poodle. I mean, it's got like it's got like a classic 90s action soundtrack with a little bit of goof in there, with a little bit of the right. Next time when people watch the movie, that's what they're going to think of. They're going to think of some goof in a Maple Leafs hat going on the internet. Okay, so before we get down to this week's movie, we have one question from Robert Long, 1966, TV Batman in the chat. He says, if Jim Belushi were to be remade, if Jim Belushi were to be in a remake of a Don Dola film, and it's interesting that he says that because I'm wearing my Don Dola physical media T-shirt. So these are all the Don Dola films I own, Matt, on all the formats.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got it on a shirt. That's amazing.
I got it on a shirt. So which movie would Jim Belushi be in and what character would he play? Well, this is tough because I really think that Don Dola films, for anyone who's seen them, they are expertly casted as it is. And so the idea that I would lose a Richard Ruxton or lose a George Stover or lose a Tom Griffith in favor of a Belushi, I would rather in addition to Belushi, you know what I mean? So I would rather Stover, Ruxton, all those guys, not Ruxton, I think he's dead. And Griffith has passed and Frith has passed. In fact, I really think it's only George Stover and Leanna Chamish and our friend Robert Long, maybe Joe Ripple as well, though he has left movies behind to follow a very worthwhile charitable life. Good for him. Good for the Ripster. Right. But no, so let's say we're remaking a Dola movie and none of the original cast are in it. Like it's just no Dola guys, and it's just all remake all the time. Then there are two roles that I think scream out to me. One, Belushi, the more comedy side of Belushi, could play the infamous Mayor Burt Wicker from Alien Factor and Night Beast. The sleazy mayor with his Mary Jane sidekick, often in a pleasing swimsuit. So he could play him, the kind of sleazy mayor who's always having like swimming pool parties and things, and telling people that they can't hunt the alien too loudly because it'll deplete funding for the out of town fun fair or whatever it is they're trying to build. I think he would be great at that. But a more serious, aggressive Belushi, I feel like he could probably do the role that I feel was George Stover's crowning achievement, which is Charlie Rizzo in Blood Massacre. I feel like Belushi could probably do Blood Massacre pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like I am kind of embarrassed here. I have not seen. I'm looking at the Don Dohler his IMDb bio, and I haven't seen any of the films that he's directed.
Then I did not do my job all those years, Matt, covering Don Dohler's work on the podcast. I was proselytizing about him, singing his praises. Matt, I will give you multiple links of where you can get Dohler's stuff.
Yes, some
and
of
I will
it's
tell
on
you what to
Plex.
get.
It looks like Night
Yes.
Beast is on Plex, I think.
Well, Night Beast is owned by Troma, so wherever Troma is like filtering its stuff, Night Beast will be there. I believe some of the others, I don't know if Greg Dohler still has his, because they've started to be released on Blu-ray, so he might have had to take it down. But Greg Dohler, Don's son, used to have a YouTube channel that had them all on there, so you could watch them on there. But I would strongly suggest like picking up Alien Factors on Blu-ray now. Fiend is on Blu-ray now. Night Beast is on Blu-ray. Blood Massacre is, but only as an Easter egg on the Fiend Blu-ray. So the Fiend Blu-ray actually has 2 movies. The Time Warp movies are not out yet on Blu-ray, which is all the ones that he made with Joe Ripple in after his hiatus. Because the thing I would track down, and it's harder and harder to find because Troma owns it, but they've not reissued it, is the documentary about Don Dohler, Blood, Boobs, and Beast. And in fact, if you ever come up here, Matt, I'll screen it for you because it's a fantastic documentary, and so inspiring to like indie filmmakers and things. But yes, I strongly recommend.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff looks like it's on Tubi, Plex, the usual suspects. So yeah, definitely could kind of make them happen. Yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm seeing like it's not like these are that obscure in the sense like you go on IMDb and like I looked up Alien Factor, I think it had like 38 critic reviews, which I'm used to, a PM flick with Wiggs Hauser that might be just me and Ty from Compass and Bulletproof or something like that. That's like that's three or four critic reviews in there. So to see like 38, like that's usually a good number for something that's a little bit more obscure.
Yeah, and look, it's very homegrown. The first handful are shot on 16 mil, and then the second group of movies are all shot on mini DV. So it's all homegrown stuff. But I think that for homegrown stuff, and with limited to no budget, and with local actors, I think it's some of the most entertaining, best made movies of that kind. And I would strongly recommend you checking them out. Anyway, so that we get to see something of the crazy action Belushi, which I think will lead nicely into him parlaying the role of Charlie Rizzo in the Blood Massacre remake coming soon from the rebooted Orion Pictures. Let's get on with the wonderful Retroactive, which is tonight's movie. It's available on YouTube, so anyone interested, you can watch on YouTube. We have 5 people watching right now, Matt. That's the most we've ever had watching live.
It's exciting.
So hello to the 5. Please stick with us. We're about to start the movie. We've been having a fantastic conversation about Jim Belushi and about Moxie and about Don Dohler and about just all sorts of things. So when you're done with this episode, go back and watch the first 30 minutes because boy, Matt, was that packed with some true gold? Am I right?
It was. What was it? What was it? Carmack or the gold bar?
The Carmack. There we go. Boy, was that filled with gold. And the funny thing is there's a great saying that Steve Coogan in one of his very early comedic things Paul and Pauline Calf, where he played brother and sister, had this saying where he would be like, life's a bucket. No, in every bucket of shite, there might be a sliver of gold. It might just be the wrapper off a Karamak, but it's there. So whenever I think of Karamaks, I always think of this idea of a bucket of shite with a little bit of gold in it and someone getting really excited. And then, no, it's just the wrapper off a Karamak. But no, we've had true gold, Karamak gold. But now we're going to let the receding hairline from Chicago, the Albanian cigar aficionado, the man who has no business singing, playing, dancing, or anything near the blues. Ladies and germs, it's Jim Belushi in Retroactive.
All right.
Let's start this off, Matt. Let's see what the volume's like.
Speaking of Orion.
This is an Orion. Look, but it's the later Orion logo where they got a bit fancy with it. That's not the
before they went out of
Orion
business.
Logo.
Right.
Because you blew all the money on a logo. What the hell, man?
They put in a logo and a Belushi sci-fi thriller.
Right. It's like, wait a minute. Who is it who financed the Belushi picture and spent all that fucking money on a logo? Well, that's who it was. Brad Crevoy and Steve Stabler.
Yeah, he was not stable. Yeah, he was Louis Morneau.
So what would we know Louis Morneau from, Matt?
Boy, that's a good question because it sounds familiar. Let's take a look here. Because that does sound very familiar.
Beautiful to see Belushi's name over this glorious sunset footage. Yes. Or sunrise footage. Shannon Worry, come on now.
You needed some Shannon Worry.
Shannon Worry is in this movie. And Frank Whaley, who, if anyone deserves a bigger career, it's Frank Whaley. Boy, has he paid his dues.
Right. So I was wondering where I recognize the name Louis Morneau from. He directed Soldier Boys with a Z, which was
he did.
Yes, Michael Dudikoff film. His second unit director on that was actually Darren Aronofsky. So yeah.
What?
So, yes.
Darren Aronofsky did second unit on a fucking Dudikoff picture?
On a Dudikoff, not just a Dudikoff movie, Soldier Boys. Like what?
That is marvelous.
Yes, yeah.
Whatever. Dinner parties, he goes, it's Soldier Boys, but with a Z.
With a Z, right? Dirty Dozen, but with teenagers that were all played by 20-somethings, yeah, or 30-somethings in case of Jacqueline Obrador, yeah. Oh, and Emmett Walsh.
Man, yeah. This is a 90s straight to DVD cast, if ever I've seen one. I mean, this cast was in so many of these types of movies.
Right. I wonder if this movie passes the Roger Ebert test. So the Roger Ebert rule, right? That any movie that has Emmett Walsh or Harry Dean Stanton has to be a good movie. I wonder if he watched this and he said, "Okay,
In fact, what I like to think of is that his wife played in this movie on his deathbed, Matt. That's what
Your rule doesn't work. It does,
Your rule is fucked, Eva. You're a fool. You're a shadow of your former self, Eva.
At time 1644, and as you can plainly see, the subject of retro.
Now is that Brad from Pulp Fiction?
It is Frank Whaley.
Yeah. My first 11 attempts at this experiment proved unsuccessful.
Who's probably biggest role is probably career opportunities with Jennifer Connelly.
We'll be shutting this place down.
That's right.
Come Monday morning. This tape will provide proof that I have been able to briefly reverse the flow of time. Whatever subject passes through this machine will have total recollection of all that has happened. I, however, will have no memory of these events.
Mm-hmm.
Are we following these rules? They're laying down their rules hard and fast about time travel here, Matt.
Right.
So he'll have no memory, but everyone else will remember that they went back in time. Is that what we've been told?
I guess so. Yeah, 10 minutes retro.
These graphics. Look at these graphics. Yeah. This is what you came here for, Matt. High-end Belushi greatness. Now we're zapping a rat with lightning. Are we sure Aronofsky didn't shoot this as well? This is very Aronofsky.
Louis Monroe, he's just got, he's just bringing up this young protege, Darren Aronofsky. He's like, see this? This is your, oh, I could use this in Black Swan. But actually, no, I won't use this in Black Swan.
Darren, come here. If you spin the camera around really fast, look at the effect. Yeah, great, Louis. Can we just shoot this fucking Belushi picture and I'm gonna go home?
It's like every so interesting point about the M. Emmett Walsh rule that I just saw on IMDb. It wasn't this film that caused him to abandon the rule. It was actually Wild Wild West with the Will Smith movie. That's
just foolish. When this and Sundown, a Vampire in Retreat exists, to blame Wild Wild West, that's foolhardy. But then, Matt, I don't know if you feel this way. Ebert was always wrong. Like, he was always wrong. There isn't a movie critic that has been on the wronger side of history than Roger Ebert.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he was good with Martin Scorsese. It seemed like he could get Martin Scorsese right. But then it was like, after Martin Scorsese, it was like almost like his antenna was just all. I mean, there were some movies he was good with. Like, he liked My Dinner with Andre. So I guess that's the thing.
But he didn't like Three Amigos or anything John Carpenter made after Halloween.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah.
He thinks The Fog is a bad movie.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Historically, he's an idiot. He probably didn't even watch Don Dola's films.
Right. But this movie here doesn't break his rule. So he thought this was a good movie by virtue of the fact that it had M. Emmett Walsh in it.
Oh, he did?
Right, because this movie came out before Wild Wild West. So it was Wild Wild West that broke his rule. So he thinks this is a good movie just by virtue of M. Emmett Walsh in it. So I guess we'll have to see what he does.
Did he see this, though? Do we know?
Well, that's a good point, too. This might not have been screened for critics. That's a good point.
Right. By the way, we just totally talked over the plot.
Okay.
Because I think what he showed us at the beginning is really important about how time travel works in this movie.
Oh, okay.
And we just talked right over
it. We're gonna be confused the whole time.
I mean, I could rewind it.
Yeah.
Can I rewind it?
Does it say it in the synopsis on IMDb? Does it tell us there? No. Oh, okay.
I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So what is this? It's the person who goes back in time doesn't remember, or the person who sets the time travel device doesn't remember? Know. Yeah.
That's what I don't remember.
Right. Okay. So now he's gathering up the pieces for his time travel device.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, this isn't even him. This is somebody else.
This is Belushi.
Belushi's coming out of the car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There she is, Shannon Worry, star of many a 90s erotic thriller.
Yeah. It's funny, he did 2 erotic thrillers with actresses who generally don't do erotic thrillers.
They like to pay for these, don't they?
And then he does a sci-fi film with an erotic thriller actress.
All right. Hey, hold my money, Frank. Where's my money? Now, how the hell am I supposed to give you money when I gotta go get it?
Yeah, Belushi's doing an
I got
accent.
no money on me. That's why we're in this business.
That's what we came for.
Have I? Yeah, you have. Come on, that was high school. I was drunk. Leave me alone about that. Frank, I need my money. I'm gonna make you rich as shit, 4 foot up a bull's ass now. Come on, man. What are you doing to me?
4 foot up a bull's ass.
Frank, I need my money. I know. I bring 30 it to you. 30 minutes. I'll be right back. Now take that thing away from me, man. You're gonna hurt somebody with that.
Dr. Phil must have seen this movie and said, "This is what my TV persona is going to be when I become a famous psychiatrist on TV."
Now, Belushi could play a great Dr. Phil.
Yes.
If he was willing to go bald.
Well, they just put the bald cap on him. Just like,
No, it should be like a really cheap bald cap as well, like not a good one.
Right. A cheap mustache. Well, negotiations fail.
He's still got Chicago in there.
Right. Yeah. He's got to make sure he's got some Chicago.
A lot of backstory here, Matt. A lot of
Okay.
backstory.
So she failed as a negotiator. She wants to go back in time and fix this.
That one was get loud.
Whoa. Yeah, that's the problem with those Chrysler LeBarons. They drift into the other lane a lot. They were known for that. Yeah. You instead of be paying attention.
That's the problem when you're having a lengthy and detailed flashback
Right,
while
well,
driving a Chrysler LeBaron. That's,
right, exactly.
That's a confluence of events, Matt, that the world was never meant to endure.
No, exactly. Yeah, Louis Morneau, he gets in on that scene, really drive home the fact that she's angry with herself for crashing into that thing.
It's very
making her car
existential.
smoke. Yeah.
In the 80s and 90s, any youngsters watching this who don't understand it, in the 80s and 90s, cars smoked and even exploded quite frequently.
Yeah.
It was just a common occurrence.
Yeah. That's PM, right? PM. It's just any kind of car chase. Those police cars in a car chase, like they could just touch a concrete embankment and they would explode and go flying over it.
I think my favorite one is the boat explosion in Guardian Angel. Because
Yes.
you've seen car explosions many times, but the boat explosion where it comes in very, very slowly and barely brushes the rock and then immediately explodes. I love that.
Yes. Yeah. Is that the only Rothrock PM flick, I think?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Again, criminal oversight.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to eat Haribo, and the wrapper is very noisy.
Yeah.
Whatever, nobody cares, right?
No. This is two middle-aged men watching 90s era Jim Belushi. I think if we munching on Haribo or anything like that, I think, yeah.
It's fine.
Problem, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Belushi can't even bother to have his hair brushed. He's like,
take you up the road
Right.
a click. A buddy of mine's got a tow truck on his own. Hell, come on.
What is that face you're
French
making,
man.
Belushi? I'm not understanding it very much.
right.
I'll fix you up. Isn't that right, Rand?
Although I have to say, if I want to see Belushi playing any kind of role, it's a demented hillbilly
Oh, I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
Let me
with
think
with
now.
rockabilly
I'd say
sensibility.
5-10 miles.
And matching sideburns.
Right,
Texas, right?
mutton chops.
Yeah.
And they're driving around in Belushi's giant gold penis,
So you from around these parts?
which is also the name of my high school
Down
drum and
down.
bass band.
Is that right? You sure do talk like you. Reinforce this one.
Jim Belushi's giant gold penis. And now at the
You know, the funniest
student
thing
talent
happened
show.
today, in the break room getting a cup of coffee, and there's this woman, Tammy. She's some kind of secretary or something. And she goes like this. She says, Frank, that's a good-looking belt buckle. And I don't know, this just popped into my head. Don't ask me how. I just said to her, guess what I said? Guess what I said to her? Somebody please just guess what I said?
I don't know, Frank. What'd you say?
I like this better when it was done in
Yeah, look
Fear
a
of Living in
lot
Las
better
Vegas.
pressed against your forehead.
She's trying not to laugh. She liked it. She liked it. She liked it.
Yeah.
She liked it.
She's a fan of that crazy Belushi.
Yeah. She doesn't want to admit it, but she's.
What's the matter? You don't want to experience my razor sharp wit back there?
I guess
I'm going
I've
to
just been
quickly
away
go
too
grab a
long.
beverage, Matt. I'll be
Isn't
back.
that all
Okay.
Texas
All right.
you
Sounds
like?
good.
Yeah, I know what it's
I'll let you know if you missed anything.
You like country music?
No, not really.
What?
I suppose it's one of the reasons I left Texas in the first place.
Come on, it's made in America for Americans. You're not un-American now, are you?
No, you might say that dealing with Americans is what I'm trained to do.
Oh, touche.
Don't tell me that.
What happened there?
Close.
He said you don't. What, you don't like Americans, do you? Or you? And she's like, actually, dealing with Americans is what I'm trained to do.
You.
Oh, yeah. She's trained to deal with him, all right, Matthew.
What's in that book of yours?
Extensively trained.
It provides
Trained
a
in the
framework
L'Oreal
to,
School of Law
work out what you might
Enforcement.
do if you could go back and change your life.
Sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me. You don't mind me saying.
Don't mind me
Just
saying.
therapeutic role playing.
Like me play Tarzan, you Jane?
Yep, that's time for the. Yep.
What the hell you suppose he popped up on?
Well, it's but bad joke police. Bad accent police too, I believe. I think it's yeah. Belushi, you're doing a southern accent again.
Are you doing a southern accent while wearing
got three
unconvincing
goddamn
sideburns?
Sky high.
Yes, I believe I am. All right, you need to go and make another K9 movie. Leave this set right now and go make another K9.
Go make K9PO.
Stay right where you are. I didn't ask you to get out of the car.
That's a good point.
Just stretching my legs. No crime in that, is there?
I want to see your license and registration.
Yes, sir. But you got to tell me one thing first. That is, what in the hell did I do wrong?
You're doing 78 miles an hour in a 55-mile zone is what the hell you were doing wrong.
Come on. Really? I can assure you, officer, that would be highly unusual for me. Because I am like this with the law.
Just give me your license and registration.
What was that? It was like a scissor motion. I'm like this with the law.
I'm like this with the law.
Yeah.
Here you go, sir.
It means he keeps his legs closed for police
Tell me who you
officers.
got traveling with you in there, Mr. Lloyd?
Well, you're not going to believe this, but it's two very
You're my
attractive
women.
blonde women. Even though I look like a bartender in
That's why I ain't married.
the saloon at the end of the
It's
world,
illegal.
I'm traveling to gorgeous blonde women.
Yes, sir. Not a problem there. Just sit there.
That's the kind of thing that, like, on the true crime, like, ID show thing that my parents would always watch. They'd be like, this creepy guy with two women, you know, and the police officer. It sounded suspicious, but he decided to let them go, you know.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, I don't know how a guy like that would have gotten two beautiful women, but I've seen crazier, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say this for the movie, Matt. It's artistically filmed.
Yes.
It does.
Maybe I
It
should
looks.
ask
It,
for a
this
right.
could do with a Criterion
No, I
collection
wouldn't hear of it. Just hold on.
cult Criterion. Wouldn't that be great if Criterion suddenly start to do cult movies?
Got about a
Yeah.
month
Oh,
ago.
especially like Belushi. If they had their whole Belushi thing, you know.
If Criterion just dialed right into the Belushiness of it all,
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
The K9, like a
six
K9
previous
3
speeding
DVD set.
violations.
Oh,
You are
yes.
law-abiding
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
citizen.
Well, I told you.
So I'm just going to write you up for 70.
Okay.
And by that extra.
Oh, there you go. You're still getting a ticket. That's like in Maine. If you get like north of Bangor, or actually north of Maine, it's 75 miles an hour, but there's so few cars that it's just like there's no reason not to do 100. And you know, it's
Sure.
then when you get off the highway, you're just so velocitized. Like I know my buddy and I, we got off the highway, we're going to hike, and we're going 50, and it felt like 10. You know, but
Yeah.
but nobody's pulling you over for doing 100. You know, because
You just keep your eyes on this asshole.
well, yeah, no, that's a good idea.
It's actually a horrible idea and will really damage the underside of that vintage car. But yes, okay.
Exactly. Belushi's the kind of guy that would damage cars like that
Yeah.
for out of
And of
stupid
course,
reasons.
everyone in this movie drives a vintage car.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That was like me yesterday walking on the sidewalk here in Philly, and a dude was on a dirt bike who just went blazing past me. I was like,
I could have knocked that
that's-
son of a bitch all the way back.
Yeah.
This
Wow.
is in a metropolitan area. Oh,
yeah,
So, baby,
you should
Yeah.
legally be allowed to
what
throw
the hell
your
are
own
you so
shit at
tense
them.
about?
right.
Oh, lighten up,
Exactly.
man.
You're right.
You should legally be able to fling
Say something.
feces at
Come on,
grown
I'm
men.
just
on
gonna take your
birthdays
damn
on the
mute. You
sidewalk.
don't say something.
And in Philly, I'm sure I could find it somewhere in a subway station or something like that. I could find a pile of feces. I could just go and just launch it in his face.
That's bullshit.
You wanted me to say something.
Yeah, the first thing that comes out of your mouth is some kind of criticism of me. Is that it? Is that it?
No,
Ah, shut up, woman.
Wow.
God damn women.
Yeah.
Can't live with them. Can't blow their heads off. Shit.
Wow. Wow.
this must
That
be
is
it, huh?
some misogynistic
No,
bullshit,
yeah.
Belushi.
I'm just stopping here for a well-deserved beverage.
I love the way like the the sideburns make his face even more cherubic than it usually is. Like it's
And
like,
the Lewis, what's his name, the director wants to apparently look all the way up Belushi's nostril,
right,
which I don't know about you, Matt, but I could do without.
Hey, you girls want to dab a little beverage?
For me.
Well, can't say I didn't try.
I can't imagine what would be going through
Oh,
that
you yap behind my back now.
either of these women's heads, like being in a car with Belushi
Damn, it's good to
in this
be
situation.
They would probably wonder why there was a thick smell of pork and why they spent most of their time hoping to get some cheese and crackers to go with the pork.
Like that Australian beer? He's always got to get that. Says it reminds him of his dad. He took off for
Bostis.
Australia and left him when he was 10.
You know, Rayanne, you don't have to stay with him.
Sometimes I just want to take a nap and cut his heart out.
Honey, you don't want to do something like that. Now, look, I'm going to give you the number of a woman's shelter.
Australia
By
for breakup.
We at this point have no idea what's going on. I don't know
Right.
who these two women are, how
Right.
they know each other, why they're in a car with Belushi. Here's M. Emmett Walsh. Is this literally the only scene he's in? He gives Belushi change for a beer.
Oh, he's the guy. He's the fence and for the
I
stuff.
want to use that phone over there.
Oh, I see. Okay, we
It's the
probably
fence.
should have watched this instead of talking over it.
He bought these chips, and I don't know if the microchips have to, or the parts for the time travel thing, or if they're just
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks for the ride.
Oh, we're in Wisconsin, or they just happen to be Wisconsin plates. Oh, whoa.
Say, do either one of you know where we could find a place to camp around here tonight?
I'm sorry, I'm not from around here.
Down the road about 10 miles.
About 10 miles?
I don't think they're in
Great.
Wisconsin.
Thanks a lot.
I think these
No.
people are from Wisconsin,
Right. That's
which is to
yeah.
indicate that they are simple folk.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
watch the water down.
Still no
I know
accents,
that water's
but
supposed to be rough.
Hey,
that's not Australian beer. It looks like Pabst.
Yeah.
Yes, come here. You remember that guy I told you about? He gave me these.
I love that a
nudie
gas
pictures.
station run by M. Emmett Walsh in some dust bowl town in Southwest America is a hotbed of fencing technical equipment.
Right, exactly. Oh, she was cheating on him. Oh, somehow Emma Walsh's buddies got pictures of her cheating. Oh, with the Latin American guy that had the car problem.
Yeah. What if he kept going through the pictures and there was like close-up penetrative shot? He's like, you didn't have to take that picture. He's like, no, but I've got a long telephoto lens.
Look what I got here. This is great. Listen, I just wanted to really do you a solid here.
Somebody else? No, I didn't show nobody else.
I think I must have dropped my wallet.
Fuck
Yeah.
you.
Show anyone else those photographs? Ah, damn it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Throw your beer.
Belushi be pissed.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, asshole.
I do kind of feel like that scene would have been enough for Roger Ebert to say he liked this movie. So maybe this does pass the M. Emmett Walsh test for him.
Hell? Frank?
It's like the Bechtel test, only
What are you doing?
much flabbier.
Frank, would you stop, please? I was getting out.
I don't know what the Bechtel test is, but anyway.
It's
Does it have
two
something to do
women.
with women in a movie or
Frank,
something?
there's a tow
So
truck
they have to be
next
two
you.
women in a scene with
Realize.
no guys, but also not talking about a guy. So like this previous scene with the two of them didn't pass the Bechtel test because they were talking about
Right.
Belushi the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should come up with our own Belushi test.
Choices, Frank.
Does it pass the Belushi test?
Natural pain in the ass.
Well, so far this one I think kind of isn't for a couple
Roll
reasons. One, the clothing he's wearing is not 90s enough, right?
No.
Like we haven't seen a denim shirt yet. We haven't seen an outlandish tie. You know,
It has not at any point
See, that's
been
what I mean.
beige pleated trousers.
Yes, no,
Right,
yes,
exactly.
No, yes, no. Now, do you want a beer or do you not want a goddamn beer?
No, Frank, I don't want one of your
These
goddamn
close-ups
beers.
are-
Why don't you just shut the hell up and leave me alone?
Drink it. Drink it.
Frank it.
Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. Drink it. I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you alone.
Frank, where are we going?
You see Karen, my wife, Ann here. She seems to think that I'm one of those bad to the bone, underpent assholes. And I think she just brings it on to me. What do you think?
Seems to me that you can work it out.
Oh, is that what you think?
Yeah.
No, I think it's a little too late for that, man. I think it's way too late for that. No, I know now. Never work out. Nope.
That looks to be Tucson area.
I've had some unforeseen realization that has left me saddened and terribly hurt.
What are you talking about, Frank?
It occurred to me back there that I'd seen that pickup truck before. Maybe, Rand, maybe you might have an understanding going on. Is that true? Come on, Rand. This is Frank.
Come on.
You can tell me the truth.
He pulls out the pictures, but the only ones he kept are the really close-up, penetrative.
Ah, you always lied to me.
He just goes, look, and he just shows, and it's just like cock and balls and labia, and just like, look.
He's
like, what?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
But for some reason, it's a photograph of like a 1970s porn, so everything is weirdly
That's what I'm
brown.
talking about.
He's gonna kill me!
Frank, look at me.
Well, of course, that's the kind of,
Shit's what it is.
Frank,
shit's what it is.
talk to me. Come on, turn around and talk about this.
No, babe.
Frank. we
Oh,
can
she's
work
doing
this
hostage
out.
negotiator
At
style.
a dramatic moment,
Come on,
John
you're a
goes
big
from
guy.
another
What are you, done?
watermelon Haribo.
Frank,
That's
put
like
the
my
gun
buddy and I
down.
saw Lawrence of Arabia in the theater. My friend was like eating popcorn at like the most like tense scenes. Like the whole place is quiet and you just hear crunch, crunch, crunch.
Yeah, the whole place is quiet, and you're just like, I just want the watermelon Haribo.
I love the horror movie damsel run she just did there. She's still kind of doing it too with like the arms kind of akimbo and.
I mean, Matt, I understand what you mean about he's not dressed 90s enough, but
Right.
the post-Pulp Fiction Americana 90s straight to DVD movie
Yeah.
was a very 90s thing.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, James Spader was in about 8 of them.
Right. Exactly. Eric
So
Stoltz.
as we go through our with Eric Stoltz, with our journey, as we go through our journey with Belushi, we may find there are two Belushis owe the 90s.
Right.
There is the beige suited cop Belushi with either a t-shirt or a dark shirt under a linen beige suit, running around in the desert, or there is the post-Tarantino 90s independent directors getting their chance to get their stuff distributed. Yes, it's an action genre pick, but it's also kind of arty in its own way, sort of movie. And there were plenty of those in the 90s. So while he might not be the 90s Belushi you long for, Matt, I don't think he's any less 90s. That's what I'm saying.
No, he does feel like he's channeling some Vincent Vega in like the looks on his face and the way he sort of his mannerisms, like a Southern Vincent Vega.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, he was hoping that this would be his Pulp Fiction, and that Louis, whatever his name is, was going to take him to the higher level.
Right. Turned out that it would be a few years later when he would finally get there with, according to Jim, it wasn't the art house movie that did it. It was it was the sitcom.
Schlubby everyman sitcom.
Right.
The only thing that this has in common with Pulp Fiction is Frank Whaley.
Right, exactly.
This guy right here.
Yeah, big Kahuna burger.
Yeah.
He just shot his wife.
Just relax. Nobody can do that door.
No, you don't understand. The man outside is a killer and he's after me.
Just relax. You're hurt. Let me go get something.
They speak English in what?
Huh?
And the funny thing is, he actually has a big brain.
You understand me?
Say
You're
what
police now.
again?
You got me? Huh?
My wife's a vegetarian, or my girlfriend's a vegetarian, which pretty much means I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah, check out the big brain on Frank Whaley in this movie.
Right. And the character's actually got a, he's creating a time travel device with all of these Apple IIe, clone PC computers he's got,
all these RM Nimbuses that he's got running.
Oh, he just started it by dropping over some hydrogen peroxide. Like, why do you have peroxide there?
He knocked over a jar of pills or something, and it.
Did we miss a scene where he had a cut and he had to put peroxide on it, and then he left the bottles like above there and Chekhov's peroxide bottle?
Maybe she was dyeing her hair with it.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes, yeah. These dumb broads with their peroxide, leaving it around, and it's sets off my time travel device. Belushi's going back in time.
Yeah. Belushi starts to jump into the bodies of other Belushis throughout time, like a kind of Belushi quantum leap.
Right.
He leaps from like this Belushi into K9 Belushi.
Right.
But K9 Belushi doesn't know that all the Belushi is left into him.
Right.
How good would that be?
Yeah. Belushi, I feel like he would be up for a 90s, like remaking all of his movies that way, as like modern Belushi getting quantum leaped into all of these other Belushis, gang-related Belushi. Yeah, traces of red Belushi.
Right. Well, he would stay in Traces of Red Belushi for a while, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I think he would be like, I get to make out with breathy Lorraine Bracco, who's acting like she's high and drunk permanently. Sure, I'll hang around that world for a little bit. Oh, so she went back in time.
Yeah.
But she's able to remember what happened before. So she went back in time, and then she was able to remember like him talking about his belt buckle and stuff.
Right.
So she knows. So basically, what it's saying is she now knows she has to rewrite history.
Provides a framework
Right.
to work out what you might do if you go back and change your life.
Oh,
I know
right.
it sounds like bullshit to you, Frank,
You just took the words right out of my mouth.
but it's not. It's therapeutic role playing.
Oh,
Wow.
you like that role playing thing, do you?
Yeah, just like Tarzan and Jane, right, Frank?
You and I are connected. You are reading my mind, girl.
And if you don't mind me saying, you're driving just a little too fast for your own good.
I bet it feels like 55 now.
Yeah, it feels like it, but it won't seem like it to that cop back there.
What cop? Shit, why didn't you tell me? Goddamn son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So now we know how this is going to play out. She is
Right.
about to try and save Shannon Worry from the immense pork-heavy Belushi.
Already got 3 goddamn tickets.
Yeah, that was like the first thing that shocked her when she's like, oh, I smell that heavy ham smell again. It's just like, it's just, yeah.
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 Is it boiled? Is it baked? Is it honey dressed? I don't know.
It's just strong. It's just very,
It's thick with
Yeah.
scent and musk.
And it's been sitting out on the table, like the meal has already been served, and it's been sitting there, and it's on that border of like, is it too late to put it away? Like, did we leave it out too long to cool? And yeah, is it too?
Which I believe Robert Ludlum coined the pork conundrum.
The pork conundrum.
That was one of his books. Robert Ludlum's The Pork Conundrum, coming soon.
Excuse me, officer? Could you
Clive
tell me where the
Cussler's
nearest gas station
Pork
is?
Conundrum.
The pork conundrum.
Jeffrey Pork was a spy.
Ma'am. Listen to that officer now.
Like a series of like pulp novels. The pork, yeah. Jeffrey Pork, the pork.
He's got a gun, officer. Officer, I'm with the Chicago Police Department. This man is a wanted man.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit, man. I got a license to carry that gun, officer.
Oh, that's not good. Oh, the cop got shot. We kind of made a bigger mess of it here.
Yeah.
She was trying to get him in the.
She really fucked up this time.
Yeah. Now she's stuck with Belushi, though. I mean, at least they're in the open air, so the ham kind of gets.
He's almost, you know, when people put thick processed ham in salads,
Right. Yes.
and then leave those salads out.
Yes.
He's almost processed ham salad, a processed
Right.
salad ham.
Yeah.
That's the smell. It's that. Should I really eat this browning salad with all this ham in it?
It's like that person who goes to the diner thinking, if I order the ham with the meat on it, it's going to be a really like nice salad because it looks nice in the picture on the menu. But when you get it, it's exactly as you described it. You've got to kind of pick at it a little bit, and everybody else at the table goes, "Aren't you going to eat your salad?" And you're just like, "No, I don't." You know, you try like the sickly warm ranch dressing to see if you can gussy it up, but it only helps so much.
And some godforsaken human being has put cold peas in the salad, which is enough to make anyone just throw up.
Yeah. Yeah.
This version did not go well.
No. This is the diner salad of attempts to rewrite history.
Yeah.
No, she's a killer. She's a killer. She's a psycho killer. She'll kill us all.
Bullshit.
She's crazy. She's crazy. She just killed my wife. She killed this stupid wife.
He killed her.
She killed my wife. She's trying to kill me.
Belushi sounds like he's talking through a bag of cheese and onion crisps.
Shut up now, please. I need your help. Get the police.
There's a lot of like he's been eating only excessively salted products for quite some time. So the saliva is so built up in his mouth. You know?
It's like me when I haven't eaten anything all day and I'm done with work and I just have a bag of chips and I end up going through the entire thing without realizing that I've done it, you know? And it's like
those glorious moments. That's what we call freedom, Matt.
Right.
That's what we call in my new book, my new self-help book. Little Pockets of Freedom. That's my self-help book.
Right.
And it's all about, Matt, finding those moments in the day where you can consume an entire bag full of chips alone by yourself with no one bothering you about anything. It's called Dream State, Matt. And in my book, Little Pockets of what did I call it? I don't know. Anyway, in my book, Little Pockets of Freedom. Little Pockets of Freedom. You will learn how to scatter these moments throughout your day, Matt, to have a better life existence.
It's one of those things where I tell myself you've got to have food in the house, so you don't do that. But then it's just like the bag of chips is just so because you don't have to cook chips. You just open them, and they're all in there, and oh man,
cooking with Matt Poirier. You don't have to cook chips.
You don't have to cook chips.
Rule one of the Poirier kitchen. You don't have to cook chips. They're easy. Chips. They're just there. They're right there.
Right.
Why didn't anyone just make it slightly harder?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing with chips.
Matt Poirier. That's the thing with chips.
Yeah. That's how chips get you. Is that
Oh, every time. Every time. Because they can taste like anything.
Right.
If you get British chips like I do, you can get beef-flavored crisps, chicken-flavored crisps, bacon-flavored crisps, pickled onion-flavored crisps.
Oh, yeah.
You can probably get brioche bun-flavored crisps, and then out of the crisps, make a pickled burger. You know what I mean? Like brioche bun-flavored, pickle-flavored, tomato ketchup-flavored, and then burger-flavored.
Put it all together.
Put it all together, and what have you got, Matt? That's a dream dinner right there. No cooking involved.
No, I go to
you can taste the whole rainbow, Matt.
Yes. If you want something more gourmet, I go to the market in Chinatown and I get roasted garlic oyster flavor. And I got it on accident one time. When you open the bag, the aroma that comes out is probably similar to what you might smell if you were sitting in a car with Belushi on a long ride. But once you taste them, they it's a kind of an acquired taste. They're a little bit okay, you know. But
yeah, of course, no.
Yeah.
I mean, America, while leading the world in so many things, it falls far behind on its native chip flavor.
Yes.
You dabble occasionally, like Lay's will occasionally go, "Oh, all right, we've done a chicken and waffle flavor.
Right,
Enjoy
right.
it for 30 seconds, and then we'll discontinue it again."
Yeah, exactly.
You know, or Lay's will do a honey barbecue. They'll branch out from the regular barbecue, Matt, and give us a little honey barbecue. But in general, your meat flavors, your weird flavor, like we have prawn cocktail flavor,
Yes,
and tomato ketchup flavor. Like, you know, you barely. And I would say, Matt, that tomato ketchup flavored crisps is barely scratching the surface at this point.
Right.
There's so many more things that I want to eat on crisps.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's the thing. Get esoteric with this. You know, now they do have chocolate dipped crisps.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't tried those yet.
There are some chocolate dipped crisps out there that you can buy. I don't know if there's any chocolate flavored crisps. You get kettle corn flavored pop chips, which is sort of a sweet flavoring. And I think they've done like a cinnamon chip, haven't they, or a cinnamon pretzel or something?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, well, pretzels, they get cute with pretzels all the time, right? With chocolate, and peanut butter, and all those things.
Pretzels winking at you with their limbs.
Olympic Lucky Charms, was that?
Yeah.
By
the way, this scene paid for the entire movie.
Right.
Especially
all the product placement.
Picnic spends so much money on this movie.
Yeah.
The head of Picnic was like, I'm done making tiny little French fry thin style chip. I want to get into movies. And they were like, have we got just the film for you? It's shooting right now in some godforsaken desert in the southwest of America. It stars Jim Belushi. Who's Jim Belushi? Well, in a few years, you will know him as the lovable rogue on According to Jim. But right now, he is adrift in a sea of B movies and bad choices that many years from now will be exploited for, I'll barely say comedy, by two middle-aged men, one from Philly and one from England, who occasionally late into the night will talk about one of... I'm sorry, but I've already lost you. I don't know where you've gone. Put me in the time machine and send me back 20 minutes. I'm done. I don't know whether that improv ended or not. I think I got confused as to where I was. I got confused. Like I was in the middle of the improv and then I was like, no, I've lost it. I've got into an improv vortex from which it'll be impossible to clamber out of.
Oh well, Belushi's screaming with a bad Southern accent and holding a shotgun.
You know, you can dance on the pinhead of the improv tundra, but if you fall into it, Matt, you are really lost for good. And I was out there in the Siberian wastelands of improv.
You're the abyss, the improv abyss.
Yeah. Right in a tense moment.
But it's hard for it to be a tense moment when, again, you've got this cherubic-faced Belushi with these sideburns and like this ruddy complexion, like trying to look as menacing. I mean, we've got Emmett Walsh looks like he smells something bad too. He's like what's that, ham? What's that, old ham?
Look at that. The only sign that you can see clearly says guns and traps.
Right.
What? Listen, I've lived out west. I've driven through Texas. I've never come across a gas station that has the sign guns and traps on the side. Like it's commonplace, Matt. Well, I'm driving through the desert. I've been here for 4 straight days. I'm trying to travel through to Houston. But you know what I don't have enough of? I don't have enough of guns and traps. Oh, look, there's a place right in the middle of the desert selling guns and traps. I'm going to go in and buy a whole shit ton of them.
I love the idea of like you're going on a long trip and it's like, Oh, honey, did you pack the guns and traps? Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot them. Well, we'll
I
go.
got
I mean,
the cooler, I got the hand luggage. Oh, you know what I forgot? What's that? The guns and traps. God damn it, Sheila, if you have one job.
the guns and traps.
Well, I thought that it was more important that we brought baby food and bang food my ass.
Well, come on. All right. The first rest stop we get to, I will get some more guns and traps. It's just such a waste of money because we have so many guns and traps at home that you're now buying guns and traps, and they charge you so much more at the rest areas for them.
Yeah, but I like supporting independent business, Sheila. Now shut your trap until you can buy me more traps.
What are the traps? Are they like the big heavy like bear things? Or are they like crab traps? Or like what?
Yeah, Emmett Walsh is out in the middle of the fucking Arizona desert, just being like, I've got a big fucking bear trap. I've got like one of those like alligator traps.
Right.
He's got one of those like big net traps that you hang in the thing, and then someone steps in the noose, and then it gets pulled up, and then he's got all that rigging. In fact, Emmett Walsh has a 10-part YouTube video self-help guide on how to trap people utilizing netting and rope.
That would be amazing. The classic, get the person to step their foot inside the noose thing and get hung up upside out, which I don't even know how that trap works because you have to step exactly in that one place, but somebody always steps in it.
Emmett Walsh is like, now, I don't know if you know this, but on the weekends, I like to go to a ranch and we like to hunt poor people.
Remember it.
He's part of one of those like rich elite, the most dangerous game is hunting humans kind of fucking thing. And he's like, every weekend I go out to the ranch and we hunt paupers. So I devised several traps and guns, actually.
Is it like the Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator trap, like the swinging spiked wood like logs trap, where it's like it kind of swings
where
down.
You step on something and then the thing swings out of a tree and hits you clear in the chest, killing you. Yes.
I love the idea of Belushi going and looking for traps and being like, "You got one of them ones that swings down? Oh, I got the one that swings down. It's right over here. But be careful because it comes swinging down on you. Might get you."
He has it rigged up in the store. He keeps losing customers. You know, I think that guy would have bought one of my traps if it hadn't fucking decapitated him like a poorly made pinata. Just fucking right through his face. I've never seen anything like it. Split the whole thing apart.
There's one of the timelines is they don't interrupt the couple or the family. They're looking for the campsite and they go in to talk to M.M. Walsh about the campsite. And the guy's like, yeah, we're from out of town. We'd be curious to see your traps. Sure, right this way. Whoa, kid, don't touch that. And then it's like,
Can't go back 3 days. Come on, get on.
I killed 6 children this week.
Well, them kids, they really love to play with that rope. Then I just tell them not to, and
You tell them not to, but I mean, their necks are so close to the ground that even though they step in it, the rope comes up around their neck, flings them up into a tree. They're dead before they hit the bark. So now she's pleaded with Frank Whaley to send her back. The camera goes spinning.
oh,
That
so
was just
that's
the
the
second
key.
time, Matt. This is the third time. Now.
This is So Frank Whaley doesn't remember meeting her. That's the
No.
key. She remembers meeting him, but he doesn't remember meeting her. That's what I guess what they're explaining. Like the rats wouldn't remember.
The point of this
Yeah.
movie, Matt, is if given the chance to go back in time and stop someone doing something, because everyone always says this: if I go back in time, I'm killing baby Hitler, right, or whatever.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
What this movie is saying is, if you had that opportunity, right, you go back in time, kill baby Hitler, that humans would fuck it up to the point where they would have to get themselves tied up in some kind of insane time loop, spending entirely too much time cocooned with a Belushi in a car. This is what they're saying. They're saying if someone was like, "Oh, we'll go back in time. Okay, you've got, we've only got 10 chances. All right, and you've got to kill baby Hitler, right? most likely, Matt, it's not till the 10th time that the human even gets fucking close.
Right.
That's how dumb we are. That's what this movie is saying.
I love the idea of somebody going back. What was like Hitler? Was he born like 1889 or something like that, or 1899? It's like somebody goes back in time to that period.
As an avid Hitler fan, I have no idea. I've never had anyone say to me like, "When was Hitler born?" I have no idea. Anyway,
I think it was something in like the late 1800s, but it was like they send the person back there and they have no idea what they're doing in that time, and they just immediately get killed right away by it's like they can't spend any money or something. So it's like, you got no money, all right, well then you're done. They just throw them out of a. It's like
that's the other thing. You're right. Like people get sent back in time. They're always sent back to a point where they're like, well, conveniently, I know enough about this era as to be authentic, while also seeming like a comedy fish out of water.
Right.
They're never sent back to time, or if they are sent back to medieval times, they seem to get on with it reasonably well, which is baffling because you would probably be run through with a broadsword, trampled by a horse, speared by a boar. Or die, or immediately show up and get the plague and die within 4 days of a disease you've never come across in your life.
Yeah, you'd be sitting next to your trench mate eating some nasty stew that's like so hard and disgusting because the Lord is eating all the great food, and there's no way you're going to be hanging out with the Lord. You're with the rabble, the peasants and the serfs.
Your bowels are immediately impacted, causing
Right,
massive rupturing.
Right, exactly. And you catch whatever disease because you're sharing the meal with the same person who's got all these diseases that it's
none of the water's clean, Matt. None of it.
No, right.
None of the water. They've not invented filters.
Right. Yeah, how humans even survived the Middle Ages is just it's amazing because every generation thinks that the current generation has it so much easier than they did, right? Whatever the newer and so that had to have started in the Middle Ages. Like as things were like slowly getting better, people were like, "We've actually got clean water one day of the week." We never, we had to go.
You lived to 38? Days. Come on now, 38? That's insane,
right? You actually can tell the Lord that He can't sleep with your wife now when you get married. We always had to let the Lord. You can actually say no and refute it. This is then the Magna Carta. That was it. Like you don't know what it was like before the Magna Carta.
Yeah. Listen, boy, you have no idea. I don't know why the people in England would be a Southern American accent of evil, but it just seems right when talking about bollocks that nobody knows anything about. To do either an English Northern accent, lad, you don't know what it was like before the Magna Carta. Goodness me, it's either that accent, Matt, or it's an American accent, Southern American accent. Like either accent seems to play well, and I'm not besmirching the good people of the south of the Mason-Dixon line, and I'm not besmirching the people who live weirdly north of Birmingham. In the UK, because everything above Birmingham is sort of weird, just weirdly north of Birmingham. I'm not besmirching those people. Those people are wonderful people. I call many of them dear friends. I have many northern friends, Matt. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
In the same way that I have many black friends and gay friends. I have many northern friends.
Yeah, I have a coworker who's from the north of England. I remember I was telling him about watching a Craig Fairbrass movie where people had baseball bats, and I was saying how what do you sell baseball bats for other than to beat people up and use them for bar security? And he's like, actually, where I'm from, it wasn't just a baseball bat, but they put a nail in the baseball bat. So he was like,
yeah, that's how he grew up.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, a friend of mine said that
this woman is fucking hopeless at just killing Belushi.
Yeah.
All she needs to do is jump back in her old body, pull a gun out while he's yabbering on about some bullshit, and shoot him where his receding hairline is leaving his body.
There's almost like a Rasputin quality to Belushi in this film where he just can't die, right? And we haven't got to the point where she's like stabbing him and rolling him up in a carpet and throwing him in water and stuff like that, and but he has this quality to him, like he seems like this bumbling oaf, but yet he's like very skilled in hand-to-hand combat. He's like, somebody just said, did Belushi just outrun a bullet? I mean,
obviously,
not inconceivable.
I mean, obviously, Belushi is outrunning everything right now in a weirdly retro pickup truck.
Yes.
I mean, there's only the 90s, and everyone's driving around as if it's like 1956. I expect to see someone to go by in a penny farthing.
That's an old Packard, just kind of.
Yeah, or like a fucking Model T Ford or something.
Let me get out and just crank her up a little bit here.
No.
How did you know?
Because every single car they come across is older than the previous car they came across.
Exactly.
Someone comes through and just like a horse and buggy. There's two Amish people come through. Like, what is going on? Well, in this time travel movie, the cars also go back in time, Matt.
Right,
That's
right.
what it is.
Yeah.
There is a perpetual automobile time travel loop. Kyle is saying, why is that man wearing Kevin Bacon's wardrobe from Tremors?
Right. I wonder if this part. I was going to say this is part of. Go ahead. You're talking about the Kevin Bacon's wardrobe from Tremors.
That guy that we're looking at right now with the ponytail.
Right. Yes.
He's if there were graboids under the sand, he'd be who we were left with. And that ponytail, Matt, is a graboid's delight.
Yeah.
They will be going right for that. Like he is fucked.
Yeah.
The moment that they get hold of that Steven Seagal style ponytail, it is over for this guy. Emmett Walsh, though, look at him, never afraid to just. No. I mean, Matt, a lot of people, again, they're like, oh, I want to be Brad Pitt, or I want to be, Timothy Chalamet, or whatever. My thing is I would want Emmett Walsh's career. Like, how much fun has Emmett Walsh had? Not only that, but he got to eat all of those Wicks and Sugar Twin.
Exactly.
Right there. He got to eat, and all that Chef Boyardee there. He got to eat all of that. That was all him. He left the Raisin Nut brand, though. He left that. He was like, I'm Emmett Walsh. I shit 20 times a day, whether I want to or not. Because of the enormous amount of fiber I consume every 35 minutes.
I think my favorite Emmett Walsh scene was when he was thrown through the plate glass window in Critters.
Yes.
And, like he's going to the house, and it's just like just seeing him hurling through the air. And I know obviously it was a stunt double, but just the idea of him just flying through the air like that, like a PM Entertainment car.
This is Benny's World of Blood. This is the same convenience store that's at the beginning of Dusk Till Dawn. Because literally, the filmmaker watched From Dusk Till Dawn and was like, I want to do something like that, but with sci-fi and Jim Belushi. And someone in the Midwest went, here, have $400,000. And I'm guessing that's about the budget of this movie.
Right. Oh, yes, Belushi with sideburns. Yeah.
For $100,000, you get Belushi with sideburns. You give me the extra 50, I do the comedy accent.
Right.
Okay, that's fair enough. You're a professional law enforcement officer.
You pay me another 25, I eat nothing but pork for 60 days before we start filming.
I'm just exuding pork through every orifice and every pore of my being.
And then it cuts to like the actor's studio, and the guy's like, so to prepare for the role,
you only ate pork for 60 days.
You went method, and you only ate pork products for 60 days. Talk us through that, James. You know. And now the famous survey by Bernard Pivot.
When you get to the pearly gates, what will the Lord say to you? Damn, I thought you were going to be your brother.
Yeah. What will the Lord say? Damn, you ate entirely too many pork products. Belushi
I forgive you for
kicked a man through a window. Can we just... Belushi just kicked a man through a window. That's some James Glickenhaus shit. I don't know about you, but that is some James Glickenhaus shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, very PM Roadhouse. Yeah, you know. Yeah. Patrick or Robert Patrick in a PM flick. Just
Go ahead.
taking a stunt guy and just
Yeah, so
knocking him
wait.
through.
Like a movie like this probably has more of a budget than a PM Entertainment film,
Right.
and yet doesn't quite achieve what PM Entertainment does.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah.
very good. Like this movie looks great.
Yeah.
And look at this, all the food flying around. Look at that.
No.
Because apparently, if you shoot peanuts, Matt, they dramatically fly up in the air in slow motion.
Potato sticks that just the Slim Jims. There was a whole stack of a canister of Slim Jims again. I used to love those. Like that was another thing. Like the chips, where you get that canister and be like, "Oh, these will last me forever." They last me 10 minutes. And
What happens if you shoot Slim Jims? We need to find out.
I'm going down with that. Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, she did, Kyle. Now it's Benny's World of Blood, or Emmett's World of Blood, I would assume.
so, you know what the key to PM Entertainment was? Well, I mean, obviously Spiro Rosatos helped. So,
Right.
but and it was like the talent. Like Belushi was, for as great as Belushi is, and we love Belushi. But like, he was not quite like a Gary Daniels or Jeff Wincott. Like, just like, here are these guys who aren't getting big roles. Let's put them in our movies and let them just unleash them with Spiro Rosatos and, Art Camacho.
Or even Jeff Fahey and Michael Madsen.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for watching,
Thanks.
Robert. Thanks,
Yes,
man.
have a good one.
Have a good night, man. All the best. I mean, this at least, I just can't help but think that if PM Entertainment made this film, there would be 18 cars and someone would be throwing gas canisters off the back of one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And another one would be exploding. I mean, that bit in The Sweeper where
Yes.
Thomas Howell falls off a building with a guy with a rope around his neck. The guy is literally hung from a building. And
Right.
C. Thomas Howell then climbs back up the rope and gets back up on the building. Like, that is a phenomenal fucking scene.
Yes.
Like a phenomenal fucking scene.
Right, yeah. I mean,
And I love the
thing
fact
is-
that Spiro Rosatos basically did so many B movies, and on every B movie, he just said to the director, like, I've had an idea for a stunt and I want to try it out. Like, the whole second half of Maniac Cop 2 is just Spiro Rosatos trying out stunts. That's all. And Don Coscarelli, not Don Coscarelli, sorry, Bill Lustig being just like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want, I'll just film it, it's fine.
Exactly.
And if you think that's an exaggeration, that's exactly what Bill Lustig sounds like. I'm not even kidding. Bill Lustig, he sounds like that. It's great. Look at this Emmett Walsh action
I know,
scene.
what is...
Look at it. He gets a crash jaw zoom as well. Oh, this is fantastic, Matt. We should be appreciating this a lot.
This
more.
is where it's meeting the Roger Ebert rule. Is that he's watching this and he's like, yeah, I don't really like a lot of what's happening here. I mean, this is the PM stuff right here.
This
It's
is some PM greatness, Matt. All right, this movie just leapt up in my estimation.
Yes. Yeah.
This movie just went up a fucking notch and a half.
Look at this. This is beautiful.
Amazing.
This woman is going back in time and just making a mess of this to like a degree that we can't. I mean, it's like we should
This
blow up
is like
Emmett
the
Walsh's
worst
crap
episode
store.
of Quantum Leap ever. and Sam Beckett went back into the past, and everyone he jumped into died of syphilis.
Can you imagine Scott Bakula if he like one episode? If they redid, I think they did try to redo Quantum Leap, but that would be amazing if he just went back and just blew everything up because he just made a mess of everything so badly.
I gave this child syphilis.
Look at
Bakula,
this,
why
like-
do you have syphilis? Well, it's a long story.
And we just lost Emmett Walsh there.
Oh.
He's just I
mean,
He
this
started
movie,
shooting at her.
This movie just jumped up a notch. We got slow mo. We've got whatever
Oh,
that is, blurry vision. We've got dust rising. We've got Emmett Walsh going down. We've got explosions. We've got children. We've got hot blondes.
Yeah.
Come on.
We've got a police officer's gonna blow.
Belushi's just doing fucking donuts in a bluesmobile.
Oh, the
He's
old.
like, he insisted that he put this in so he could show Aykroyd and be like, please let me be.
Now we're gonna
Blues
kill this
Brother."
kid here. He's gonna suffocate the kid in the. That old Coke thing. If you watch Final Impact, there's an old Coke machine like that in there. I had to get a screenshot of it when I did the review.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, callback from very early on when we were John was able to take a look at John's. Actually, I don't think we were recording when you were showing me your VHS. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have a plethora of PM Entertainment tapes that I was showing Matt before we started filming. Maybe if everyone's very lucky, I will get to the end of the show and maybe I just show everybody my PM Entertainment films. Maybe. Yeah.
I thought I'd get myself.
Yeah, maybe I'll do it again, Matt, at the end of the show.
Tell
Because
you,
you'll forget.
right? I think
You'll be so enamored by the Belushi-ness of it all. This has to be. I'm sorry, Matt. I think this has to be top 5 Belushi. Like, this is a really good movie.
But it's a stunner of a top 5 Belushi. It's like watching like soccer, football, like at the highest level, where the top of the table team's playing the bottom of the table team, and for the first like 60 minutes of the game, 75 minutes, it's like 0-0, and the bottom of the table team thinks they're going to win or whatever, and suddenly like the quality comes through, and suddenly they score like 5 goals. Like this movie just scored 5 goals on us, like right now, like just in the past.
Matt,
like 10
that
minutes.
is a beautiful analogy. I'm sorry. I'm going to put my white chocolate down. Get that a little golf clap. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed, man.
You're responsible for it. You're never going to make it to the
I
Mexican.
mean, I didn't see this movie recovering to this degree.
They're tight with us now. The Mexicans are tight.
Why?
Well, free trade.
Free trade my ass. I just have to kick your boat right now.
Wait, no, hold on. There's another way.
That's a great shot.
Another way, is that right?
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember that little experiment that I was working on?
What, that sci-fi bullshit?
Got it to work.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna give me the next
That's
going
what
to be.
Belushi said when he finished the script. Lying in bed with his wife. He just goes, "This is some sci-fi bullshit."
And the wife was like, "Well, you need a paycheck." All right, you're right.
Is that right?
Yes, it's true, Frank. That's how I know all about you.
You know all about me, do you? What's my favorite color then? Huh?
Why is he
What's my
like
middle name?
half playing it like
What I
Elmer
have for
Fudd,
breakfast this
and
morning?
the other half trying to play it like the
What
most
universities
threatening
did I-
bad guy in any movie ever? And I don't.
Yeah.
It's a
Bullshit.
weird
You don't know
dichotomy.
anything
Belushi's
about
playing
it.
on so many levels. I don't
Yeah.
even think I'm getting all of them. You know.
Right? No, it's yeah. One minute he's like killed a wabbit, and then the next minute it's just like, yeah, he's like able to like kick people through glass windows.
Yeah.
Not even Rand knew about the money. Yeah. That's how come you knew the end of my joke.
Mhm.
Damn. Hell, Brian. Beat me on up. Let's check this little experiment of yours out.
I'm surprised they never cast him in Star Trek. Can you imagine? Well, come on then. Beat me on up.
Oh, we got the kid here. He didn't suffocate for some reason. I guess.
You're gonna get according to Jim, and you're gonna like it.
Right,
All right.
That would be great if CBS or Paramount or whatever decided to do a Star Trek series with Belushi as the captain, just sort of sitting there and his kind of thing, just Belushi,
He can't quite get the tunic on. It's open down to about here. It's
Exactly.
flat. Part of his nipple is showing. He's smoking a joint and playing the harmonica, and everyone is walking past him being like, "Give it up, man."
He's this like young, willowy, like Gen Z, like pretty girl, sprightly girl as his like second in command or second officer, and he just like constantly calls her like all kinds of like horrible terms that like were bad for the 90s.
Right.
But like baby, sweet cakes, all these sweet
Right.
cakes. Why don't we do Red Alert here? Sweet cakes, come on,
And she's like, "Captain, you're really not allowed to call me that anymore." He goes, "And I suppose I'm not able to call you tasty buns either. Suppose I'm not able to say nice sugar tits either. And I suppose it would be bad if I called, and he just goes on with just the most like offensive string of stuff. And she's just like, "Yep, that would be wrong. Please don't do that. Stop it."
And the Romulans like fire a photon torpedo at the ship, and it shakes the whole thing, and they're all like kind of moving around. Like, I guess we better start getting to the business here.
Yeah. And then he goes, he's still going in the corner. And I suppose it would be wrong if I touched your honey, huh? Yeah, that would. And I suppose it would be wrong if I grabbed your hooters, huh? Yeah, that would be. And I suppose, and then and just like everyone's just like Belushi. All of it is wrong. If you're doing anything in the vicinity of a woman, it's wrong. What, even playing the harmonica? Yes, nobody wants to hear you play the harmonica. No one ever watched a Jim Belushi film and went, you know what would make this better? Harmonica. No one ever said that, Jim.
I wonder if Belushi playing the harmonica in this would be enough to make it a bad movie, like to
yes. Yeah.
reverse the Emmett Walsh rule for Roger Ebert.
If this movie, which is this exciting and this ridiculous, got to the end of the film, they're all the cast of Friends all of a sudden because they've all fixed whatever problems they've all got. And the very last shot as the credits roll, they're all sat on the porch of like a Western ranch house. Belushi is playing harmonica, and the woman and the little boy are like dancing together, like happily. That would kill this whole movie dead, completely dead.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, welcome to Sean here, Sean Malloy from I Must Break This Podcast. Yes, you're seeing me on camera here for sure.
Oh, Sean, hey, how you doing, Sean? I don't know you, but hello, welcome to Two Middle-Aged Men Watch 90s Era Jim Belushi films, and you've joined us while we are enjoying the over-the-top performance of Mr. Jim Belushi in Retroactive.
I don't know, but this doesn't look good. No, stop!
We are 1 hour and 10 minutes into it. We have 17 more minutes to go, and it has turned a corner. Right. It has become exciting, nail-biting.
You know
Things have exploded. People have died. People have been kicked through windows. Belushi has gone back in time and is so confused by it that he's doing everything exactly the same way.
Yeah, it's
Sean Malloy is the host of a Dolph Lundgren podcast.
Yeah,
well,
I must break this podcast.
Put the link in the chat, Sean. I want to listen.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. I always talk about this one interview he did with line producer Benjamin Sachs, because he gets into the nitty gritty of working with Seagal, actually, because he did work with Lundgren on some films, but he gives the inside dope on like what it was like with Seagal and those like mailed it in, Keone Waxman directed kind of. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Although I have to say, the one where he mailed it in, but he's fighting vampires alone in the dark. What is it? What's it called? Something
actually, Sean was a guest on my podcast. We talked about Alone in the Dark. Actually, when Sean was actually on an episode, we talked about that one. Yeah,
that's not a bad film.
It's a fascinating movie, right?
Yeah, like
so. Sean had the best analogy.
Not giving a shit about the world's Seagal. Yeah, it's not
right,
bad.
Exactly.
Oh, the wall just got.
Okay, all right, this might be better than him getting thrown through a plate glass window in Critters. That might have beaten it for me.
By the way, Emmett Walsh does all his own stunts because there isn't a stunt man in the world that can mirror his jowly face.
Right. Oh, there goes the Slim Jims. Yeah.
They have to, with the Emmett Walsh stuntman, they have to glue extra like rubbery jowls on his face. Against the Dark. That's it. Sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't. Alone in the Dark is the slasher film with Murdoch from the 18 Minutes and Donald Pleasance. Against the Dark. That's it. Seagal was the equivalent of adding pineapple to a dish that didn't need it. I know what you're coming at with there, Sean. I though would not have even watched the movie if it wasn't for Seagal's presence, and so for that reason alone is probably he put at least one bum on seats, as they say.
Right. Sean had a great metaphor where he's like, imagine you're a catering company, you get this really big deal, and you're gonna really make a lot of money and all this stuff, but the thing is, every dish has to have pineapple in it. That's kind of like putting Seagal in a vampire movie. It's like, and it's an interesting thing, right? Sometimes the pineapple tastes good in the dish. Sometimes you don't know what's going on. And with Seagal,
if you're at a Brazilian barbecue, which Seagal loves to go to, they roast pineapple in between courses to clean your palate. so that
Yeah,
you have
that's good.
the ability to eat more meats.
Mm.
I
That's
think
I
we got a
didn't know-
dead child here, Matt, as well. I think this movie ratcheted it up to the point where the child is dead.
we kind of killed the child, so he's got to go back in time and save the child.
Yeah, and
Or-
we're also getting confused as to who is going back in time and who. So
Right.
she's gone back in time twice, but Belushi's gone back in time once. And I think
Right.
the dead child is about to go back in time. I don't even know how that works.
Oh,
And
right.
yeah, it's exciting.
If you quantum leap the child, yeah, because you can't have a dead child. You can't kill. This movie is not ready to go dead child level.
I think it just went dead child level, Matt.
They're done. The kid's not coming back, huh?
It would be hilarious if every time she jumped back in time, the kid died in a more grotesque and hideous fashion. Like, no matter what she did, like, even if everyone just sat around and listened to country and western music, out of nowhere, the kid is like flayed alive and all his skin, like, it just gets more and more and more utterly disgusting. And she's like, no matter what I do, I'm stuck in the dead kid loop.
How'd you get in?
Because this is the thing about her is that she just keeps screwing it up more and more every time she goes back in time.
Yeah, although Belushi's equally screwing it up. I mean, everyone's
Right.
screwing everything up.
Yeah.
The only one who would is that little kid. I guess he's out of the picture entirely now.
What do you want now, Frank?
Let's listen to some of this dialogue.
I tell you, Brian, that is a damn amazing machine you got there. And I've been thinking about all the fun I can have with it. You know what I can do? I can kill the both of you, zap myself back 10 minutes, and kill you again. And again, and again, and again.
Not a very noble ambition, Frank. Maybe you should aim a little higher, you bastard.
Hell with that. Rand's gone, and I just want to have a little fun. But you know
Her
what?
Australian accent showed
I'm
there
not
for a minute.
familiar with that
Yeah.
particular procedure there, Brian. You're going to have to explain it to me.
No, I won't.
Well, I'm sorry to say, sir.
Now, Seagal and
don't have a
Belushi look very similar.
It's all up
Yeah.
to you, Brian.
Like, Seagal and Belushi should have played brothers in a movie in the 90s.
Yes. Yeah.
How much time you
Yeah.
want?
I think, and especially if Seagal kind of, I guess he didn't spend a lot of time in Michigan. He was born there, but I think he moved to California, so he never really had that Midwest accent. But
Brian.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Seagal has every accent.
right,
Seagal is so multi-ethnic that Seagal is legally allowed to do any accent. According to the show, what was his cop show that he did?
True
Don't worry
Justice.
True Justice.
Or no. Was it True Justice or was it the other one, the Seagal Lawman or something?
Lawman, that's it. Steven
Yes.
Seagal, Lawman. In Lawman,
The time you want.
in any different episode, he'll claim to be Chinese, he'll claim to be African American, he'll claim to be Native American, he claims to be Jamaican, he claims to, and all it means is that Seagal is allowed to do a series of increasingly racist accents without anyone questioning him.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. I think that the big difference between Seagal and Belushi is that Belushi kind of was leaned into getting older, whereas Seagal keeps fighting it as if it's not happening.
Right.
And so like to see the two of them almost like as ships passing the night, where like Belushi's getting older but accepting it, and Seagal's getting older and not accepting it, and trying to like chia pet his hair and his goatee and stuff and make it like
That'd be amazing. Like they keep selling like Chia Pet, Bob Ross or Chia Pet, whatever. Chia Pet Seagal. That would be
Yes,
the
with the
one that I
goatee.
would rush out to buy. Belushi is loving the fuck out of
You
this,
look
by the way.
damn good.
yeah. He gets to be a baddie suddenly, like a real diabolical baddie all of a sudden.
I'm sad at all the pairings we didn't get. I would
Yeah.
have loved a Belushi Spader
Yes.
pairing.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I think we could still get that with like a bald, overweight Spader with glasses, and then Belushi. Like, I'd almost like a new version of like the those movies that they used to do with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
Grumpy old
You
man.
know, Grumpy Old Man, like a new version with those two, like fishing and like arguing and growing weed and stuff like that.
Yeah. What? The grumpy old man. It would be like they'd be like sweat.
Sweaty, right. Just seeing Spader like turning to look at
Aspiring men.
right. The commercial for it is blue. Spader looks at Belushi and goes, "Why do you smell like ham so much?"
Spader is just sat there spooning gobs of potato salad to an already puffed out, flabby face. And he's just, I'm gonna keep eating potato salad.
Right.
And meanwhile, Belushi's just like sweating and the hair receding. He's smoking a joint, making some off-color remarks about his wife.
Right. Well, Spader's like, my character would be eating a lot of potato salad. He'd just get tubs of it at the grocery store and just wolf it down. And, maybe like the red bliss kind with the red. I like the red skins.
Buy as many potato salads as possible, because in this movie, I will be eating my and your body weight in potato salad on a daily basis. I want Spader to go like Marlon Brando stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like he just gets to the point where he's just like, for this next movie, I'm going to do the entire thing with my penis hanging just out of my zipper. Like not fully unsheathed, just like the tip of it bobbing up and down just out of my zipper. We'd really rather you didn't, James. Listen, that is what I'm going to do. And if you want Spader in the picture, you don't have to put him on camera or anything, but I'll know he's there and you'll know he's there. Bobbing away. Everyone's like, this is very weird.
I love that because they interview the director after, like, or it's like in the IMDb trivia. You'll notice that Spader is never seen from the waist down. That is because he insisted on having the head of his penis hanging out from his zipper during the entire film, right? And of course, we read that IMDb thing, we think that's ridiculous, right? It's like those, the crazy Seagal ones where people write these ridiculous, like somebody who did that as a joke. That's not really a true thing, but in fact, it was a true thing.
It was a true thing, and there are many, many on-set photographs to prove it.
Right. So this is the end, is that she just realized that she's so bad at doing this whole changing the past thing that she goes back in time and just says,
shoot her in the face.
Right. She's just like, I'm not even going to do it. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to let them
the
go.
End of the movie is that the agent she was working for all along was Belushi. That's the twist. Oh, no, okay.
No.
Frank Whaley.
Yeah. She's like, get anything to eat in here? Big Kahuna
He was
burgers.
who Joanne Whaley Kilmer married before she married Kilmer.
Oh, okay.
But notice how she got rid of the Kilmer but kept the Whaley.
Right. Yes.
I don't know that that's true. I just made that up because they have the same last name. What is that hair? What is
that's
that?
The Lego hair he usually has, right? That's like
He's doing a bit of a Donald Trump right there. He's trumping it. Oh, and all the way along, it was a feminist parable about how you shouldn't listen to Jim Belushi. Look at him writhing on the hood of the car while money slaps on his face. Look at this. This is like, for the director, that's like the cum shot right there. I don't want to be crude, but that money.
There was a kind of a crucifixion element to it too, right?
Right. But like the money splashing effeminately off Belushi's
the tongue sticking out,
boring face, just fucking writhing in ecstasy and agony as money slapped his face like a wet James Spader penis.
Yeah. No, they don't need any traps or guns.
The kid survived. The wife took it out on Belushi. Everyone who was bad was punished. Everyone who was good was good. Yeah. She's going to come in and be like, it's okay that she killed Belushi. Belushi wasn't very nice, even though she was the one cheating on him. Can we not forget that, please? Yes. She was the one cheating on him. Also, she could have left him at any time. It's Belushi. Yeah. Everyone would have understood, but she stuck with him and then cheated on him. So the fact that the moral of this movie thinks that somehow Shannon Worry is the victor, I'm sorry. Can we not hear it for Paul Belushi?
The cheat. Emma Walsh didn't survive, though. I didn't realize that Emma Walsh didn't make it. Well, that kind of
Walsh only survives the first half.
Wow.
All the second half, Walsh dies repeatedly. Nothing as good though as Walsh being head on by a station wagon with a family in it.
I think that
was
beats him being thrown through a plate glass window in Critters for me. I think this
It's
is
at least up
I bet
there.
a
in
new
point.
yeah, it's all-time favorite Emmett Walsh moments. You know,
Yeah.
also getting burned with a cigar by Brian James and Red Scorpion. That was another good one. I know Sean listening here probably remember that one from Dolph film. That was a good Emmett Walsh scene as well. But I think tumbling over the top of a car, like you said, head on, it doesn't get much better than that. I could see how if I was Roger Ebert and saw this movie, I would say this is it, thumbs up. You know,
yeah.
If I only do thumbs up or thumbs down, this is thumbs up.
I'm going to say right now, if Ebert gave this the thumbs up, and I want proof of that, Matthew. If he gave this the thumbs up, that has redeemed not only this movie, but it's redeemed Ebert in my eyes.
Right. I mean, technically, according to IMDb, the only film that broke his Emmett Walsh rule was Wild Wild West. Right. So if that's the case, so again, his rule is that any movie that has Emmett Walsh or Harry Dean Stanton has to be good just by virtue of them being in the film. Right. And I think this came out before Wild Wild West, right? So it would, but I guess the other thing is it probably wasn't screened for critics. Like Roger Ebert probably never saw this movie.
I don't know. I think Ebert probably picked this off the shelves of his local mom and pop videos. So this was probably like, if Ebert was allowed, I think the problem was, right? Ebert became this critic. And everyone decided his shit didn't stink or whatever. And then Ebert started to believe that his shit didn't stink. And then he just became this pompous, chubby wrongster telling a series of skinnier people that they're wrong, which they usually were as well, to be honest. Roper and the other one were hardly much better.
Roper was, he was,
And what was
when
the
he
one
took over for
Roper?
Siskel.
Yeah. I mean, Siskel was a prat. Roper was a prat. Ebert was a wally. Like, it was such an awful show because he believed his own bullshit. But I think that in the quiet moments, Matt, those little pockets of freedom that I like to call $9.99 now on Amazon and Etsy, Little Pockets of Freedom, my new book. In those pockets of freedom, Matt, I think that he would put this movie on and be quite happy.
Yes.
That's my feeling about Retroactive.
I think Ebert would have had the same feeling we had about this movie, that this is, I don't know what I'm watching for the first hour, and then the last half hour, suddenly I'm seeing exploding cars, Emmett Walsh flying over the front of cars, Belushi going between Elmer Fudd and sinister diabolical villain. All this stuff is happening here. This is fantastic, right? I think that would have won him over, because again, this is the top tier football club that just scored 5 goals on us at the end there. It's like
it is. It's the fantastic underdogs coming through and proving to everybody that there's life in them there exploding gas stations, or rather no life, or the end of life. But I do imagine, and maybe this is I see, Matt, I see so many, if I was Belushi's agent, I see so many avenues for him. I'd be like, look, the Discovery thing with you growing pot and going down to South America and hanging out with Dan Aykroyd and being a blues brother, that was cute for 5 minutes, but nobody's watching it anymore. Come back to movies, Belushi. I have a series. I have not just one career path for you, but several, because I'd also like to see Belushi become the Emmett Walsh of his generation, meaning not big parts anymore, but he just crops up as a grubby gas station attendant or a liquor store owner or the barman at the end of the universe, whatever, the barman at the end of the world or whatever, showing up in a David Lynch dream sequence, whatever. The Emmett Walsh of his generation, he just crops up in all this fucking stuff. But it's just when's the Belushi cameo coming? It's when's the Emmett Walsh cameo coming, right? So I see that career path for him. I see the renaissance of Belushi with either he's the last, Tarantino's casting his 10th and final film. And he's redone the careers of Pam Grier, Robert Forster, John Travolta. He raised Samuel L. Jackson into the A-list. Blah 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 blah. The final trick the devil ever pulled was putting Jim Belushi as a lead in a Tarantino movie, and that starts the Belushi Renaissance, where Belushi goes on to do a series of dramatic comedy, like dramatic comedic character actor as a leading role kind of parts. He does like 3 or 4, and everyone like applauds him. And then by about the 5th or 6th, you're like, okay. The other would be the Wes Anderson Renaissance.
I was going to say the Wes. Yes,
yeah. It's either Tarantino, Rodriguez, or Wes Anderson who's going to put him in, or maybe Paul Thomas Anderson. Although I fucking can't stand him. Right. Fuck that movie. What was that movie he made with the fucking pop group in it? That the vinyl thing, spaghetti blanket. What was it called? Licorice Pizza.
I didn't see it yet. I didn't see it. Was it that bad?
Oh, Matt, it makes me so angry. Like it makes me so angry to think of that movie. That movie makes me want to find small furry creatures and end their existence just because that movie exists. It's so bad. Yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah,
and it so should have been called Spaghetti Blanket.
Yeah, I saw that on one of the streamers, and I was like, "Do I want to watch that? 'Cause it's Paul Thomas Anderson." I just never got around to it. But
Matt, if it was called Spaghetti Blanket, it would no more make any more sense than it being called Licorice Pizza.
Licorice Pizza, right?
Like Licorice Pizza, I know means vinyl record, and it's the name of a vinyl record store in the Valley in California. Blah 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 blah. Right. Do you know where they never go in the whole of the movie? Do you know what is not even mentioned once in the movie? Do you know, Matt, that at no point, I don't think even vinyl records get a name check in the film. The film is about waterbeds. Waterbeds. That's what the film is about. It's about a creepy young girl, an older guy, or is it creepy young boy and an older woman? I don't know which one it is, but either way, creepy older and younger teenagers doesn't make it. It's not edgy, Paul. Make them the same age and get on with it. You either want them to fuck or you don't, and I don't care. So just get on with it, right? Get on. Stop it, Paul. I've had it. That's the first thing. Secondly, it's about waterbeds. Boring. Nobody cares. Why is it not about vinyl records when you call it fucking Licorice Pizza? Boring. Paul, stop it. I've had enough. Right? It just goes on. How do you get Tom Waits to cameo in your film and make it bad? Tom Waits has never been bad in it. There's not a single thing Tom Waits has done that has ever been compromised in any way at all until he went near Paul fucking Thomas Anderson.
Right. Yeah, because I think
I'm done with my rant about licorice trousers or whatever it's called.
Yes. But the Belushi Wes Anderson thing, I think with the Belushi, like I'm seeing like these.
Calm
these
me down,
like,
Matt. Yes, talk to me about Jim Belushi.
I'm seeing like the Jack Nicholson when he had his kind of renaissance, where he was doing things like About Schmidt and stuff like that, where it's just like his face on the like Bill Murray. Like I think the other thing too. Now that Bill Murray is, I guess he's canceled. I don't know what's going on with Bill Murray, but
I don't know.
There's a space for Belushi.
Movie, so,
okay, so he's not that canceled, but maybe he's canceled enough that Belushi could come in and be. Because I think Wes Anderson won't use him anymore, so he could use Belushi when he needs a Bill Murray.
Yes, I agree with you. I think this is an idea we've had already, and I agree with it. I think it's a beautiful idea. Because I have to say, Asteroid City, he had Tom Hanks and Steve Carell. He was trying to fill that Bill Murray void, and he was like, "Let me put both Steve Carell and Tom Hanks." I think Matt, he overdid it. He overdid it. It was one Carell too far. It was one Hanks too far. It was too many spots in the spotted dick. It was too much custard on the flan. Right? So those are all analogies, Matt. It was a step too far. And I think that what cancels out the too muchness of a Steve Carell and a Tom Hanks combo is a Belushi. That's just straight down the middle. It's enough out of left field that people are like, the according to Jim smokes pot discovery guy, Like immediately, people are like, "What's next?" The guy from the Aliens show, who's always saying like it's aliens.
With the big
Suddenly,
hair.
he's in a movie. Yes, he could be in a movie. That guy who does unfunny TikToks about working retail jobs, he's in a fucking movie. The guy who's like, "Do you know I don't want to be here at work today?" I'm like, "How is this funny?" And he's got a career, Matt. He's in films. He does stand-up, goes around the country showing people his angry retail clerk shtick that is literally the oldest shtick in the entire book, Matt. And he is in Cocaine Bear. Where is this world going, Matt? Cocaine Bear.
Right. I mean, essentially that shtick is what made Dilbert, right? That's the only, it wasn't retail, it was, office, but it was the same thing. And somehow I guess that's what it is like Dilbert, right, is a thing. And everybody's like, "Oh, Dilbert's great. And then they think it's funny. And then like in 2001, they forget that there was a Dilbert. It's like every once in a while they'll see like a thing like, "Oh, that's Dilbert. I remember that card. When I used to read the newspaper, I would see it in the funnies or whatever, right?"
It's like we were the Garfield generation. And for a brief shining moment, especially as an orange fan of Moxie, such as yourself, Garfield was everywhere. He was stuck to car windows. He was on T-shirts. He had a cartoon special on TV. He was in everyone's Christmas stocking was some form of Garfield book, which was the laziest gift a parent ever had. "Oh, you know that cat he sometimes chuckles at in the newspaper? Find the book of that. That'll do."
Right. But then it's like
the child 20 years later standing over them with a bloody axe, being like, "Give me more Garfield books, will you, mother?" Anyway, sorry.
But you're right, because like then Garfield kind of disappears or Dilbert disappears, and suddenly these kids find this. They start doing TikTok, and they're like, "Hey, here's my orange cat doing goofy shit like eating lasagna. Don't you kids think this is funny?" And all these kids are like, "That's hilarious." And then we look at it and we're like, your cat's Garfield, where it's you're just doing Dilbert on a TikTok. It's not that. It's not that. But all these kids are like, "I never heard of Dilbert. He was canceled long before. Like the creator was canceled before I got a chance to, like whatever." And it's like,
they cancel the creator of Dilbert?
Yeah, he was a bad Trumper. I think he was racist. If you go back into his history, he was featured on Behind the Bastards. They featured.
You're like, "Oh, the creator of Dilbert, he was a massive Trumper and something of a racist."
Yeah, he was a bit of
wow.
He claimed it wasn't the fact that he was inept at his job that he didn't get promotion, but the fact that he was white. He said multiple times that, "Well, my bosses told me they'd promote me, but because I'm white, they don't want to. They have to promote this black woman instead." It's like, that's the kind of stuff he would say. People were like, "No,
horrible, stupid dog whistle nonsense."
Right, exactly. That was and it was just like it got to be so much that they were just like the newspapers were like, "We can't put your comics in this newspaper." Like, I think he has a pool shaped like Dilbert's head. Like that's how rich the comic made him, that he could have a mansion in LA with a pool with Dilbert's head. All he had to do is just not be racist. But I guess when you're racist, you don't have any choice. You're going to be racist, right? You got to do racist things because he could have just been a millionaire.
Listen, Jeff, you can have your Dilbert shaped pool, all right? Just got to dial down the racism. Like, and by the way, it's America, so you've only got to dial it down like 30%. Like you haven't even got to go like a full 60%. Some occasional funny accents, people get away with that. Steven Seagal gets away with that all the time. Steven Seagal literally has a blues rock song where he sings in a Jamaican accent about wanting the punani. That's a thing that actually exists. I didn't make that up. That's a thing that exists. So we live in an America where, look, all you have to do is maybe not say racist shit in public. You can say it behind closed doors as long as all the days long. You can draw little swastikas on Dilbert's desk that, you can only see if you've got a certain kind of subliminal racist mind. Go right ahead. Do whatever feels good. But, that's all we're asking. 30% less racism. And you've got yourself a Dilbert-shaped pool. But he was like, I'm sorry. I've got to go 100% racist. There's no, when you start dabbling in the racism game, Matt, there is no halves.
Right,
it's once you've decided in your head to be a xenophobic bigot, simply because you don't understand that the world is a diverse and wondrous place, then you got to go all hog on it. You got to go the full 100%. There's no half-assing racism, Matt. I think we've learned that.
Exactly.
Those
Even
who are
discussing your
those who
Dilbert-shaped pool.
half-ass racism are doomed to repeat it, I believe, is
Exactly.
the. Anyway, so now that we've fixed the whole world's problems, how about that movie coming from the underdog position and winning the day? That was wonderful.
It's funny because I think with the other Belushi films we've watched so far, it's almost worked in the other direction.
Yeah.
Where we I would say the first one, Traces of Red, was just kind of consistently what it was throughout.
Yeah.
I don't know that it
was
fell off.
consistent, Matt.
Yes,
It started in a place and it ended in a place, and I think we all know what happened between the two poles.
Exactly. I think the Jim Piddock screenwriting, I think, combined with the Belushi acting, I think, with the Lorraine Bracco
And
drug
the obnoxious Piddock cameo. If this was the only movie I ever make, I want to be in the film. Oh, Piddock, you whore. All right, go on then.
Yes. And I mean, I don't know what to make of Separate Lives. Like that movie.
Yeah, that was weird, right?
Yeah,
that was like sexy when it wanted to be action packed, and action packed when it wanted to be sexy, and it was, and not really very much of either. Like I'm just saying, it was. There wasn't much of it, and what there was wrong.
Exactly. It was just like Linda Hamilton being like, I want to do something other than Terminator. And everybody's saying, okay, do something other than Terminator. And then it was just kind of like, just keep doing Terminator. Like that's just, yeah.
She briefly dabbled, Matt, for a little moment in the pool of the Belushi. And much like the creator of Dilbert was left out in the cold and forced to sell her Belushi pool and go back to the much more affluent waters of robot apocalypse.
I feel like that would be the biggest Belushi win for all the money that he made from, according to Jim, being on a like if he just got a pool with his head, just been like, I finally made it. I finally, all these bad movies that I did in the 90s where I was just struggling to get a paycheck, where, whatever it was, I was just taking whatever role I could get. I finally get on a sitcom where I'm this schlubby America's dad kind of character.
Everyone loves me.
Yeah, my name's on the top of the bill. I get tons of money for this role, while all the other people are considered guest stars and don't get paid anything. I'm going to make a pool with my head shape as the with all the money that I've got.
And isn't it weird, man? Because he would either make a pool in the shape of his own head, or I think he would do two pools. I think he would do. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to sneeze. Pardon me.
Oh,
sorry. Wow, what a sneeze. Sorry about that, dude.
No worries.
Hang on. So he would do two pools.
Yeah.
He would do one pool shaped like his and the dog who played Jerry Lee's head, like a canine pool. He would have a canine pool, and then he would have a him and Dan Aykroyd pool. Like Blues Brothers, almost like he's trying to completely replace his brother. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm getting that midnight sneezing thing happening to me again.
It's okay, no worries. Yeah, I never thought about that, but you're right. You're right. Like the Blues Brothers pool with and like when you swim in the pool, there's speakers around it that just play like bad blues music of just like
it's not even the original Blues Brothers. Yeah, it's not even the original Blues Brothers. It's Jim Belushi's cover band version of a cover band version of a Blues Brothers track. And he's like, and he invites Dan Aykroyd around, and Dan Aykroyd is forced to sit there while like a bunch of 60-year-old like construction workers in Jim Belushi's band murder all the songs that Dan Aykroyd stole from other musicians and made famous. And Dan Aykroyd's just forced to sit there and stare into the pool as the abyss, because Dan Aykroyd realizes he made this. This is his fault. This is his fault. He encouraged it. He enabled it. He made it possible. He danced and shit on the grave of John Belushi by putting Jim Belushi as the new blues brother and touring with him and giving him a cut of the profits and everything like that.
Right.
I mean, John Belushi is doing fucking tornado twirls in his grave. Also, isn't it bizarre that with the Ghostbusters franchise and all his vodka money and his paranormal investigating, that Dan Aykroyd, millionaire Dan Aykroyd, you know, multiple franchises under his belt, you know, whatever, married to Donna Dixon, which is just like just insane. Just insane. It's just because there's like Heather Locklear and Donna Dixon. Like they are the two blonde 80s American totems of gorgeousness, right? Right? You got them together. And Aykroyd gets Dixon, like, and it works. Like they're still together. Like do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she can't like money that much. You know what I mean? She's got to put up with Aykroyd riding around on a fucking motorbike like he's 20 years old, trying to wedge a leather jacket over his enormous gut. Walking around talking like, you know, Dan Aykroyd was one of those volunteer deputies in like the town he lived in up in the Midwest. So Dan Aykroyd, like Steven Seagal, they have that in common, pretended to be a cop while real cops stood around and went, well, I guess we've got to do this for a week then. While Dan Aykroyd's talking about fucking cop car engines and shit like, well, back in the 70s, we used to blah, blah, blah. Bunch of cops sat around being like, Jesus Christ.
Is it worth it to get this autograph?
We got to put up with Aykroyd pretending to be a policeman for a month. Jesus wept. But like Donna Dixon still is with that man. Yeah. And you would think that, you know, he's hitched his wagon to the Ghostbusters train. He's like, well, look, as long as you're going to start plundering my back catalog, at least give me a slice of the pie. And you're like, all right, that makes sense, Aykroyd. I'll give you that. But then I watched the Discovery Channel Belushi, Growing Belushi, or whatever it's called, with the part and everything. And Aykroyd's in like every other episode. And I'm like, why is Aykroyd hitching his wagon to Belushi's part train? Does he really think that Belushi's going to be like the Elon Musk of pop? Suddenly Belushi's pulling down Billy's, because they've overestimated vastly how many people still know and give a shit about the Blues Brothers.
Right,
I mean, I loved the Blues Brothers until I got about into my mid to late 20s and went, enough of that. Just enough of that. It doesn't mean I don't go back to the original movie, which is awesome occasionally. Yeah. But I'm not putting on Briefcase Full of Blues. Instead, I'm going to actual blues music and listening to that.
Right.
Well, I'm a grown-up, Matt, you know?
He owns those, like, House of Blues
not anymore,
places, right? Them. Oh, he sold them. I remember in Boston on one of the sports channels, Nesson, because they were trying to fill programming. They would do like this whole like nightlife in Boston programming thing, which was just obnoxious because there's
just a bunch of Irish people throwing hands at each other across the room.
Right, exactly.
Nightlife in Boston. It's another fist fight.
It's like, get out of here, you fucking bastard! I'll kill you. But like they would like have celebrities, like, you know, like Ben Affleck would be there, and he'd be like, "Oh, I love." They called it Dirty Water TV. He's like, "Oh, I love that Dirty Water." But they had Dan Aykroyd do it, like some event, like some charity event at the House of Blues. I guess he still owned it at the time, and he's like, I love that Dirty Water TV. And it was like, he was just so excited that they were like, oh, we need a celebrity. Oh, there's Dan Aykroyd. You need me? You want Dan Aykroyd to do the spot with Ben Affleck here?
Can you give me 20 minutes? I've just ordered another vat of potato skins.
Right.
Aykroyd's on his third vat of House of Blues potato skins. I just can't get enough. Donna Dixon is like, yes, keep eating them, dear. Maybe you'll fucking die soon, and I'll be able to finally run off with Rob Lowe, which would make fucking sense. Because Donna Dixon and Rob Lowe, you're like, okay, that I understand, right?
It must have, you know, he must. There must be something that Aykroyd's bringing to the table that we in the public don't see. That there's an Aykroyd, there's a public facing Aykroyd, and then there's a behind the scenes Aykroyd that Donna Dixon can't quit.
Yeah,
You know, she's that we don't
Look,
know about.
Shannon Tweed was with Gene Simmons on and off forever, and
Right.
I mean, he just looks like a bollock. He just looks like a testicle with a wig on it. His even in his wildest dreams, he was never an attractive man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, listen, I look at someone like a Tom Jones or whatever, and I go, I don't get it. I don't get why women went crazy, like back in the 50s and 60s, why women went crazy for Tom Jones. But I also look at it and I go, but that's fine. That's probably like a woman thing. But Gene Simmons, you look at him, even in his so-called prime, you look at him and you go, I just really? Gene Simmons, he looks like a potato with a fucking bit of pubic, like he looks like dog pubes have fallen onto a potato and they've gone, whatever. That's what he looks like. And Shannon Tweed, again, she's more 90s and 80s, but still one of those quintessential American blonde beauties, Shannon Tweed. And she's just like, sure, Gene Simmons. Her and Donna Dixon probably have like a self-care group.
Well,
they have like a text thread.
Well, the other thing too
about
is
like nostril hair and armpit flab.
Well, because the other thing too, I think she's from Newfoundland, Shannon Tweed. But the thing is, they never got married, so it's not like she married him for a green card or something like that to become an American citizen. They weren't ever.
Why would you if you could be a Canadian citizen?
Right.
That's really no need.
Right.
Yeah.
The Shannon Tweed, and they even had their own reality show where they had the kids and everything, and it was just like in the reality show, you're looking at them and you're like, I mean, I don't know if like if like the therapist or whatever they're doing marriage counseling was just like, whatever happens here, I'm stepping out of this.
Whatever happens,
I'm on the TV show.
We need to go all the way back to why it ever happened once, let alone. Was there a party at? Oh, go ahead, dude.
I was gonna say, was there a party at the Playboy Mansion? Maybe she had a little too much champagne, and Gene Simmons looks better. Yeah.
What the fuck with all the people fucking Hugh Hefner? You know what I mean? And on a certain point, like at a certain point, you start to go like, what? Like, it can't all be men's fault, right? I get it. Hugh Hefner, powerful, rich. I'm sure he was a shit to most of those women, etc., right? I'm not falling on the side of Hugh Hefner, but unless he was chaining those women up every night, and he might well have been chaining them up every night, I don't know. If we are to assume that even one or two of them are there voluntarily, that says a whole lot. That says a whole lot that you can't explain away with, well, men and power. Now, I'm on the women's side. Listen, 98.9% of the time, I'm on the women's side. But fucking Gene Simmons, Dan Aykroyd, and Hugh Hefner, what are we talking here? Like, what's going on?
I think the Hugh Hefner one.
What I'm saying, Matt, is there's questions.
But I think the Hugh Hefner one actually more because I think those women, I don't think they thought they were going to, I think they thought it was like a show marriage kind of thing. And then when they discovered that he actually wanted to have sex with them, it was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't plan on this. Like I think in their cases, they thought that it was like, like the Dan Aykroyd shit.
I don't know anything about them.
No, but like the Dan Aykroyd and this, the Simmons
Donna
one,
Dixon.
it's like, like those ones are like legit because like those women are there because they want to be with these men and they weren't duped. It wasn't like unless there is a scene where Dan Aykroyd said, "Let's pretend to be married," and then
what if his brother, who's all into the supernatural shit, Peter Aykroyd, what if he put like a hex on Donna Dixon? Like they were just watching some ghost story or whatever at night, and then Peter Aykroyd popped up behind the couch and just went. And she was like, Peter, go away. And then suddenly was transfixed on Dan Aykroyd and was like, whatever you want me to do, master, I am in your thrall. And Dan was like, well done, Pete. I don't know what you did, but that worked a treat. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe it was Peter Aykroyd.
It makes more sense than the reality.
Yeah, it makes much more sense than reality. Well, sir, this has been a thrill.
Yes.
2.5 hours of sheer delight.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
it's wonderful that we still have things to say about the great Jim Belushi, and we'll continue to have things to say about the great Jim Belushi. I don't know when we'll do this again. Hopefully next week, but who knows? My schedule fills up quicker than a toddler's urinal. But I don't know why that's even a thing. But all right, I just came up with that. I just assume toddlers pee a lot. You know what I mean? They consume a lot, so they pee a
Right.
lot. That's what I'm assuming. Or they all have UTIs. I have no idea. Anyway. At this point, man, I don't know what's going on. Somebody stop me. They gave me a microphone and a computer and said there were people out there. Talk to them. Anyway, Matt, this has been a thrill.
Yes,
Thank you very
absolutely.
much, sir.
Yeah.
We will do this again soon.
Yes.
And everyone follow Direct to Video Connoisseur on or DTVC Connoisseur on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And buy Matt's books on Amazon.
So there might be an issue with the books because so this is my most recent one, Bainbridge. But
Bainbridge, yeah.
I'm about to put out a new book, and the problem with it is, let's see if I can show you here. I got the proof copy of it, and
yeah,
you notice that the titles are dots, just a bunch of random dots. It wasn't rendering the fonts properly, so I think I fixed the problem, but I'm waiting for the proofs to come. But hopefully, I'm gonna have a new novel out soon, like in the next week or two, called Don's House in the Mountains. It's like the third in my author cycle. So after A Girl and a Gun, Holtman Arms, this is kind of the third and kind of final-ish act. It should be out this. I was hoping to have it out this week, but the font issue is there. So I think I've solved it. Yeah.
Another, I mean, two Matt Poirier books in 1 year.
Yeah.
That is a bounty of riches, sir. I'm very excited. My collection, I'm going to show everyone. Hang on one second. See, I have the full set.
Yes. Now, guess what is happening here with the full set? I'm putting out new copies soon that have images on the covers.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So I've got to buy them all over again.
No, you don't have to buy them all over again. No, you've already bought them. I don't make you buy them all over again. But I
want the variant covers, Matt.
Okay, well, I got a Canva account and learned how to make covers and learned how to make designs and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, I'll make. But again, same thing. The font issue was there. So so that's also the thing too. If you buy my books now, I don't know if the font issue is going to be there. So hoping to get it fixed. Like again, we're going to see how this proof copy comes. But yeah, you know, in your case, I can get you the author's copy. I can just buy an author copy and send them to you, but because you've already bought them, So
no,
yeah,
but
so
I want to get the variant covers. Is Bainbridge going to have a variant cover or not? Is that just
so? I'm working on a smaller pulp version kind of cover. So I'm still working on it, but it's going to be like kind of a smaller size. Like so, you see this size here. I'm going to try to shrink it to like kind of a mass market paperback size.
Yes,
and
I like
and so yeah, and then one of the things that Canva does is you can do like AI images. So I put in like 90s detective and got a kind of a cool image and stuff like that. So kind of putting it together now. Hopefully I'll have that again. That's going to be a little further down the road, but I'm hoping to have.
Look at that, ladies and germs. Poirier not paying real artists and succumbing to the lure of AI. Cancel this man immediately.
If people buy my books, I will start paying Fiverr. I was like, before people buy my books, I'll start contacting Fiverr right now. $15 a Canva a month is
People don't seem to understand this. I'll eat organic when someone fucking just gives me some money. Until then, I'll eat Twinkies and dog shit, and I'll like it. You know what I mean? And so look, cough up. You go to fucking Starbucks. I know you do. Person not watching this right now, but possibly watching it in the future. You go to Starbucks and you go, oh, I'll just get a little cake and maybe an eggy nibble and a fucking 5-gallon cup of fucking coffee and caramel and coconut and horse shit. And then when the barista goes, that'll be $32.48. You don't bat an eyelid.
Right.
But if Matt tries to sell his books for a few quid on Amazon, everyone's like, oh, don't know that I have spare $10 to buy.
Yeah.
He wrote
I
a
don't really
book.
read.
What have you done with your life? He wrote a book. Buy his book, you bastard. Instead of spending $30 at fucking Starbucks. They don't even pay tax. They don't even pay tax.
Right. I didn't even think of that. That's a good point. Like one of these books is they're $12.99. That's a trip to Starbucks. That's
Right. And most people going to Starbucks, they're going to get on the subway or they're going to get in their car or they're going to.
Yeah.
They're spending money, Matt, left and right, up and down.
Right.
Leaving their thermostats on when it's 50 degrees outside, like a balmy 50 degrees. Right. And people go, wow, I'm just going to put 70 degrees on in the office building. These people are living a life of luxury. But you go, I know someone who wrote a book. Who writes books? George R.R. Martin can't even finish his fucking series.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anyway, you write books, Matt. You're up there with Tolstoy and Dylan Thomas and William Shakespeare. I mean, you write books. Books, people, on paper. Books. Not just one, many books. This is impressive and people should pay for it. There is a wild, and I get in trouble for saying this, but there is a wild inaccuracy right now that's happening, right? So you have people who will spend an inordinate amount of money on a corporate thing, a Starbucks and Amazon or whatever, right? Without batting an eyelid. Yeah. Even though everything's getting smaller, the service is getting worse, and the money is getting more expensive. So worse service, smaller product, people are still buying it in droves, right? Yeah. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the people who are going on to Etsy or, Facebook Marketplace or whatever, and buying something that was, this was lovingly handmade in the Cotswolds with some sheep diarrhea and some hay and some whatever, and I fashioned it into a thing and painted it or whatever. And then they go, so I'm selling this thing, this like found art or whatever, for $568 on Etsy. And when people go, why is it so expensive? Like, why is that mug you just made? I get it. You made a mug and you did pottery and stuff, but like, right, you did pottery, but that's what you like to do. Like, that's what you're good at. Like, they're all like, well, it took me a long time to do it, right? But you were enjoying doing it. Like, it's not like you're like, oh fuck, why did I decide to be a potter? I hate potting. Right? So anyway, they go, well, it costs so much because it takes so long, right? But if you make a movie, Matt, that involves 50 people, even a low budget movie like the ones I'm in, right? Yeah. It involves 50 people shooting over multiple months, right? Yeah. After writing the script yourself, shooting it yourself, editing it yourself, scoring it yourself, acting in it yourself, right? For months and months and months and months and months. And you tie it all up, and then you have to go through all the hoops that are required to put it on Amazon or Tubi or whatever. That it has to be a certain quality. It has to have subtitles. It has to have all this, blah, 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 blah. You spend all that money, Matt, thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. The guy who's made the mug that's charging $400 for the mug because he dribbled a bit of gold leaf in it while he was firing it off in the oven. That guy, well, it took me a long time to make it. He's made 1,000 mugs in the time that people have made this movie. And if you put it up on Vimeo and ask someone to pay $8 for it, they fucking won't. Right. But the guy's like, well, I made a mug. Well, of course, because that's what you do. You make mugs. Like, what? Well, I mean, if it takes too long and you don't enjoy doing it, stop doing it.
Exactly. But it's not even the Vimeo piece, right? It's like, hey, this movie's on Tubi. Just watch it and have the ads roll through and give and that's all you have to do is just put it on your TV and let it roll and get that person a view. And even that, they're like, no, there's a new Disney plus Marvel show that I've been really wanted to binge. I don't have time to.
Disney's done a live action version of Lilo and Stitch. Can we just break this down, please? a live action version of made up characters, right? Like made up. They're not even animals, are they? They're just like made up cartoony.
Right. Some of them are animals. Some of them are. So I think they did a Lion King one that was animals. So I think it was. Yeah.
No, right, but the Lion King is animals. But are
Right.
Lilo and Stitch meant to be actual animals? Because
I don't know what Lilo and Stitch are. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But I'm saying, how is it live action? What you mean is you've CGI'd something that you would formerly painted. In fact, they probably, Matt, nowadays with AI or whatever, you could probably just run it through. Probably don't even have to have CGI designers anymore. Probably just run it through a thing that goes.
Oh, right. Just yeah. Oh, yeah. You just type in what it should be.
Whatever, or live action, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
Kyle has rejoined us. Kyle says, you guys are still going, true Belushi heads. We've been off Belushi for like 30 minutes.
Right.
He said Disney needs to do porn. That's right.
Well, you know what it is that Disney's done is that they saw when Roger Corman had Blood Fist, and then he remade it with Full Contact, right?
Someone from Disney watched Blood Fist. That's
right. And then they watched Full Contact. They were like, wait, Roger Corman's a genius. He just had a movie and he remade it again. Why don't we do the same thing with all of our properties? So wait a second. We can make a cartoon about the Little Mermaid, and then we can just do a live action movie of it, and everybody will go watch it again. That's fantastic. Let's just do that.
You know what it's also about, though? So a lot of these titles, Disney scooped up when they were no longer in copyright.
Right, exactly.
They got hold of like Winnie the Pooh and all and Sleeping Beauty and all these things. And then the copyright refreshes on the Disney version.
Right.
But if you don't do a new version every 50 years or whatever it is, 30 years, 50 years, whatever it is, the copyright can fade out. So they are doing another wave of all their famous things to keep the copyright rolling in.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense too.
I think that's what happened. Kyle is asking, I'm waiting on the porn version of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yeah. I think, listen, anytime you get Angela Lansbury, is it Angela Lansbury or is it Julie Andrews?
So.
No, Angela Lansbury is Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
That's right.
Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke. Anytime you get Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke in a movie together, that's porn on its own. I don't know what would the porn version would be less fun than the original, I think.
Right. It's porn enough. Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know that it is. Julie Andrews is Mary Poppins.
Right, Mary Poppins.
Who's the woman in
what? Yeah, what is going on here? I've got
I don't know. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
It's Sally Ann Howes. Who is Sally Ann Howes?
No idea.
Did you know Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was 2.5 hours long?
Yeah, and it was written by the same guy who wrote James Bond.
Ian Fleming. So the same guy who wrote James Bond and the same guy who wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
No, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was Roald Dahl.
No, that's what I mean. They're co-writers on it.
Oh yes, on Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, right? Roald Dahl wrote some of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, yes, as well.
Yeah, but yeah, Sally Ann Howes. That's who played. I recognize her.
How she did. You know what I mean? And how, right?
Exactly.
There we go, Carl. You got there for the 12 minutes to 12 pun on the name of Annie and how. What was I saying before? I forget what I was saying before.
You're talking about I think we're talking about people spending money. I'm telling you, this is something that you taught me. This is something you expressed, you stressed to me, I don't know, however long ago. And it's something that I kind of keep working on. I keep my head, it's like, okay, whether it's somebody who has a Kickstarter for a movie, here's $10 for the movie. It's like, I can't afford a lot of money, but here's $10, and it's like, if everybody just says $10, that's what I've got. Right. Suddenly the movie gets made, and these people that are trying to push something and make something happen can make it happen. But also the thing is, and this is I can say for me with my books, or you with your music and whatever it is that we have, right? If you buy, if you go to Starbucks and you buy a coffee, right? All you're doing is just making the person who's working there a little bit busier, right? That's really all you're doing. And you're putting money in the hands of the CEO and all those people. But if you buy somebody's book or you buy their album on Bandcamp or whatever it is, when they go to their,
for sex aids and extra milk.
But it's like, they're going to go to their account and see a sale was made that day. And it is like a huge bonus. Or like they're going to go to their Kickstarter and see that they got more money into their Kickstarter. And like, the joy that people get from that, the people that are the creators that they get from that, it is absolutely amazing. And somebody's stuck in there. But that is, I think that's a way to think of it when you're spending your money. Is think about like where it's going to go. But
yes, Kyle is trapped right now in his car. There's a house centipede that are particularly gruesome, purple-blooded alien monsters that crawl up the wall, and he can't get out of his car, so he's trapped listening to us. Well, Kyle, as a public service, we'll keep talking until you get out of your car.
Are you living in Australia? Are they like really big, nasty?
No,
centipede,
he's in Ohio.
Oh, okay. But they still have big, nasty centipedes in Ohio. Is it like one of those like silverfish? We get these gross silverfish here in Philly. I don't know if you get those.
That's maybe the same thing. Yeah,
they're disgusting.
They have like 15 legs. Like they have like too few legs and too many legs all at once.
Right, and they've got these big antennae.
Their skin's like translucent, and you can see like their purple blood. And
no, we don't have those here. I don't think.
Oh, dude, they are horrifying. They are like Clive Barker threw up on Greg Nicotero's dick or something. Like they are horrifying. Kyle's in Indiana. Sorry, not fucking.
Okay, yeah.
Not fucking Ohio. Why don't I always think? I always think of Ohio when I think of Kyle, which is most unfortunate because I fucking hate Ohio. So I'm glad he's in Indiana because Indiana's a much better place to be.
I've never been to Indiana. I've been to Ohio, but never to Indiana.
Yeah, Ohio's terrible.
Yeah.
You know that scene in the movie that we just watched about an hour ago where a cop came out of nowhere and pulled a guy over for doing 70 on an empty road?
Right.
That's Ohio. Like that is the explanation of Ohio is lonely, bored cops fucking up people's days.
Right. So now were you in the southern part? 'Cause that's where I was when I was there. It was in the southern part, like the Cincinnati area.
I drove through I-80, so into Ohio, into Pennsylvania.
Cleveland. Okay, yeah. My friends, one was an environmental science major. There was a bio major. They really wanted to go to the Creationism Museum that's in like Kentucky and that area. And they're like, "You got to come with us, man." I was like, "Okay, I'll come with you." I didn't sit on the Triceratops like they did. They got pictures of themselves sitting on the Triceratops, but it was quite a trip. It was quite.
How can it be a creationist museum if there are Triceratops? There are no Triceratops in the Bible.
But they think that that there are Triceratops that lived with humans in around 6000 BC or whatever it is.
But why didn't anyone mention it in the Bible?
I think dragons or something. I don't know. Are there dragons in the Bible? I don't know.
I don't think there's dragons in the Bible. I mean, there's a lot of like burning bushes and angels and shit, but I don't think there were not like while we're walking along and oh look, there's the dragon.
It is.
Apparently, Kyle says the Creationist Museum is governmentally funded. You see, that's the first thing that I would do away with if you vote me in next. I'm not even allowed to run for president, Matt. I'm not even for the fact I was born in England. I'm not even a citizen.
Right.
Anyway. If you vote me in November, I will get rid of all monies going to any form of religion whatsoever. So that's how I feel about that, Matt. Yes, I don't know what I was talking about anymore. I've lost it. I've lost it. I've jumped into the quagmire of improv, Matt. I'm sinking fast.
We started talking about.
Yeah,
I think when you start talking about dinosaurs in the Bible, that was my bad. We got into Ohio, and that's the only time I've ever been to Ohio before. Was to, because it's like just south of Cincinnati. You go into Kentucky, and it's there.
At any point that when Namath is begatting Karod, who's begatting Joshimel, who's begatting whatever. I don't think at any point anyone begats a pterodactyl. I don't think that's anything that happens. Carl is asking, will we fund his movie that he's wanted to make forever? Date Rape Dracula. Yeah, I mean, Carl, if you set up a GoFundMe page, Matt and I have promised to give it $10 each.
Yeah, for sure.
So
and I don't even need any perks.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't need. Don't give me perks. In fact, the less perks, the better. Enough of perks. Everyone's looking for a perk. If you're going to give me money and then I've got to drum up a perk out of somewhere, that's money. That negates you giving money. Stop.
Keep the DVD.
No
Keep the
perks.
DVD copy of it. Just I'll I'll rent it whatever when it comes out.
From now on my Patreon channel, nobody gets anything. Just give me fucking money for this. For the entertainment. That's why you're giving me the money. I'm sorry. Did we get confused? Like, I love Patreon and everything, but it is a case where they're like, well, to really be a successful patron, along with the content you're already creating, along with that, create all this other subsidiary content and give it away for free to people who have maybe given you $1. Fuck that. No more of this, no more of that. Carl loves it when I get on Carl's a big fan when I get on a rant where I start just declaring things no more. Declaring things ridiculous. Don't you love it, Kyle? Tell me you love it, Kyle.
I love this idea of it being the greatest courtroom drama since 12 Angry Men. So it's going to be like William Kennedy Smith from the William Kennedy Smith sexual harassment trial. I probably don't remember this, John, because this would have been like the late 80s, early 90s. I think it was Ted Kennedy had to testify. It was like it was like a Kennedy compound in Florida, and there was a woman who claimed that I don't think she was date raped, but she was sexually harassed, and there was a whole trial, and like Ted
Kennedys?
Kennedy.
No,
yeah,
you're kidding me.
I remember like Howard Stern did this whole routine where he dressed up like Ted Kennedy, where he had like a shirt on and his like boxers, and he was like doing this whole routine. He was like, "Era, I was just trying to get the boys laid, Era. What's I don't understand the big deal, Era." And it was like this whole, he had like the jowls like attached to his face and all that stuff. Because he used to have a Saturday night show, Howard Stern. But I'm seeing Kyle's date rape Dracula as like a remake of the William Kennedy Smith trial, but only with vampires.
Yeah, and possibly with Weird Al Yankovic and Howard Stern playing all the parts.
Right, exactly. Yes.
With a cameo by Rick Moranis. Kyle, let us know on the house centipede situation. Are you out of the car, Kyle? Are you safe? Did you make it to freedom and safety and warm beds and hot glasses of whiskey? We need to know. Did Carl Polling make it? Or is he dead?
Hopefully he didn't get it. Right. I was going to say that the centipede get him.
Yeah.
I always see these clips of people living in Australia where they just get these big, like, frightening, like, big, like, stuffed animal-looking spiders just crawling around and stuff. And it's just the most frightening thing ever.
Kyle is still in his car. Kyle is watching us in his car right now because of a house centipede. And he wants Clancy Brown as hanging Judge Joey. Oh, Carl, you genius! You sweet genius, Carl. Do you want me to invite you in? Can we? Do you want to come in on the? I'm going to invite Carl in. Okay. Carl, where shall I send the invite link to so you can come in on the feed? Should I do it in Facebook? I'm going to do it in Facebook. Carl, I'm sending you the feed. Join the feed, Kyle. We want to know what's up. I'm going to send him the link. All right, Kyle, I just sent you the link in Facebook. Go on the link and invite yourself in on your phone, and we'll beam you into the show. This will be interactive and live and fun. I think Kyle's left us. No one's watching us anymore. Kyle's gone. There are currently no viewers.
Oh, he left. Well, because does he have to leave to go into the?
Oh, he probably left to go look at Facebook. Right.
Yeah.
So he could get the link.
I think that's how it works. I think
if he gets beamed in, this is going to be fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I think he has to leave as a viewer to get beamed in as a participant.
Yeah, that's fine. He can't hear any of this.
Right.
Are you okay to stay up for a bit more or not?
Yeah, I can stay for a little more. Yeah, for sure.
I don't want us to be upsetting anyone or causing an issue. Kyle, are you coming in, dude? He's seen it. I've seen on Facebook Messenger that he's seen it.
He's seen it.
It'd be amazing if we got Kyle in here. And we were just like, there's Kyle in his car reporting live from the car. That's what I want. I want Kyle live from his car. Nope, still no Kyle.
No, so maybe he disappeared. Maybe he dropped out. He was.
Yeah, I think he dropped out. Oh no, hang on.
Was he entering?
There he is, Centipede Pete. It says device is not connected.
Oh.
Kyle, you need to connect your device. How do I?
Oh, we got a private, or did you private chat?
Oh.
My browser won't let him. Oh, his browser's not letting him in. That's the problem. The phone browser.
Oh.
Yeah. If he's got like Safari, I think it won't let you in.
Oh, really? Safari doesn't. I'm on Safari.
Oh, well, then I guess it does let you in. Okay.
Kyle, you just have to authorize use of your microphone and camera. That's all. Like, there should be a pop-up that says, like, you know, allow use of microphone or allow use of camera. And once you've done that, it should be fine. Anyway, all right. So, Kyle, you may be stuck in your bed forever, sir, because I think we've got to ring off. If you could figure out a way to jump in, we would have chatted a bit longer. But this is where we might have to leave you, sir, because otherwise it would have been amazing, Kyle, if you'd managed to get in the studio. That would have been incredible. But I guess another time. Anyway, Matt, this has been a true pleasure. I still haven't released the second episode of the podcast. Okay. That's how busy I've been. I've got to edit that. So this will come out, that'll come out, and then this will come out as a podcast, hopefully, at some point. But this has been a lot of fun tonight, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I had a great time as well, for sure. Absolutely.
And let me know when you want to do the Blood Fist 3 and 4, because I have to rewatch them. So give me a
so sometime next week, because I want to try to post, because the slot for it will be not this coming Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. So
okay.
All right. So maybe I can ping you on Facebook and we can work on a time.
Maybe we'll record next Thursday or something.
Yeah, that might work. That would work. Yeah.
All right, man. Okay, well, we're out. We're leaving the stream now. Kyle,
all right.
I hope you survive the centipede apocalypse that he's dealing with.
Yes.
When we come back 2 weeks from now, we'll report live with Kyle in his car and see what happened. He's going to be stuck there for 2 weeks. All right. Take care, Matt. All the best.
All right. Have a good one, man. Talk to you soon.